Discovery, go and throttle up.
Alrighty. I got another cup of coffee. And we should be good to go here. Huh. All right. Sebby, you got me looking at pictures of frickin' Spire. Got me looking at pictures of Technic Museum Spire. Look. That was a great Virgin Galactic flight today. Yeah, that's right. They did do that. Yeah, we should probably look at that. Probably get some footage. Russian space news. Spasiba. Bratья. Spasiba. Spasiba. Hey Riz, what's going on? You were at Sinsheim? Oh. Huh. Alright, what do we have? P3? I think. Canberra, JU-52, C-47. I don't know what that one is. I'm not sure what that one is either. I know what those are. Aeroflot. Nice. Lots of military stuff and people doing donuts in the parking lot. Oh boy. Tanks. Can we? No? Oh, here, let's try. Sometimes you can just drop it on and it'll work. Anything new since I visited a few months back or same old, same old? Riz, I killed Jeb again. Yeah, that didn't end well. Chat promptly canceled the lunar program, and we started working on an SSDO project to replace Dart and other lifters. Here like this. I'm trying to get all the links transferred. I think I got most of them, Kim. Something weird there. Anyway. So you're done with the SSDO prototyping, designing ground service equipment, and then fly it, and then see what's wrong. Pretty much. Wii Sports, normally you wouldn't really do that. You design the two in parallel, but I know enough about KSP to know, like, I know enough about how the pads and everything are put together to know, like, what's going to work and what's not, you know? Or at least I think. Like, you know, I know that how I built LV5, how I built our vehicle, in terms of like how it will bolt to the pad and stuff, that shouldn't require much to change it, you know. Kind of, yeah. I mean, that's the really only way. I don't have any computers to do the testing. In that regard, mission mode is old school, so you kind of have to build it and then you kind of have to send it and see what happens. Okay. Okay. Did you see the new KSP2 update video? Yeah, as soon as that stuff comes out, I usually share it. I'm going to take that. I'm going to put that over there. I'm just getting all the links kind of ready to go. I have that. We have that. I'm going to load up the Starship stuff here. Let's see what we can see. Let's go there. Launch tower section rollout. Let's back that up. We have 3 Starship vids. All right, that's enough. That should be that's plenty of space news. All right. So, and then we have to get Virgin Orbit. Or no, it was Virgin Galactic, excuse me. That's all I had from the military stuff, unfortunately. Okay. Stug. Looks like a Stug 3 or something. Ooh, a Panther. My favorite. Best tank, dude. Yeah, those are good museums. I'm not... Oh, okay, got it. Here. Alright, so, here's where we'll start space news today. Here, check this out. So... do we have any stuff from Virgin Galactic proper here? Let me take a look. No. Nothing. I thought they live streamed this. There's no replay from the live stream? All right, well, yeah, we can go right to their website. So Virgin Galactic launched their first suborbital flight out of New Mexico today. No live stream. NSF did it though. All right, we can watch theirs. But there's a video that was posted by News that has onboards, which is, how did they get that? Like, look here, I'll show you. Like here, if you search Virgin Galactic, right? It's gone. It's not there. There was a News video here that from like an hour. Am I dumb? There it is, right here. Plenty of videos on their Twitter. Okay. No sound? No sound. Yeah. This is from their first test flight? That's... No, this is New Mexico. Yeah, this is New Mexico for sure. Oh, dude. What? That's awesome. So damn cool. Got up 55 miles, 89 kilometers. That's what, 340,000 feet or something? Who are the passengers on this? Up here. Yeah, see, you could tell that this is from New Mexico because there's no ocean. There's no ocean anywhere near. This was today. Damn, dude. It's crazy. That's crazy. Here, let's see over here. Virgin Galactic completes first human spaceflight in Spaceport America. Welcome astronauts and payloads home after their third flight to space. So Virgin Galactic completed its third spaceflight and first ever spaceflight from Spaceport America in New Mexico. Today's flight sees New Mexico become the third U.S. state to launch humans into space. VSS Unity achieved a speed of Mach 3 after being released from the mothership, VMS Eve, and reached space at an altitude of 55.45 miles before gliding smoothly back down to the runway landing at Spaceport America. On VSS Unity's flight deck were CJ Sturkow and Dave McKay, while Kelly Latimer and Michael Masucci piloted VMS Eve. CJ, who flew as a pilot in command, becomes the first person ever to have flown to space from 3 different states. The crew experienced extraordinary views of a bright blue curvature of the Earth against the blackness of space. CJ or EJ? Yeah, I don't know, man. Okay, the CEO at Virgin, Michael Colglazier, said, "Today's flight showcased the inherent elegance and safety of our space flight system. While marking a major step forward for both Virgin Galactic and human spaceflight in New Mexico, space travel is a bold and adventurous endeavor, and I am incredibly proud of our talented team for making the dream of private space travel a reality." Okay. We will, it goes high enough. We'll immediately begin processing the data gained from the successful test flight, and we look forward to sharing news on our planned next milestone. Virgin Galactic fulfilled a number of test objectives during this flight, carried a revenue-generating scientific research experiment as part of NASA's Flight Opportunities Program, collected data to be useful for the final 2 verification reports that are required as part of the current FAA Commercial Reusable Spacecraft Operator License, tested the spaceship's upgraded horizontal stabilizers and flight controls, and validated all EMI reductions, electromagnetic interference. And then following the flight, and in line with normal procedures, Virgin Galactic will conduct a review of all test data gathered and thoroughly inspect the spaceship and the mothership. Once the team confirms the results, the company plans to proceed to the next flight test milestone. This is where they got it? You know what we should do? Hold on. You know what we should do? I mean, there's NASA space flights footage, which is awesome, I'm sure. I saw that posted on Twitter. Here, let's go see what Jack was out there filming it, if I'm remembering correctly. Let's get to the good stuff.
Everything appearing on track at this time. A absolutely great shot, Jack. This looks gorgeous.
That's called a balut, Signer. Yes, it's possible. Oh, there
and
it
there
is.
we have release, and ignition of Spaceship 2 VSS Unity on the way to space.
Go, baby, go.
Jack, look at that. That is awesome.
What a
You
track.
can see the vehicle pitching up, heading to space.
I'm not understanding the
VSS
question,
Unity now
Signer.
pitching up towards space. Again, they're going to fly basically straight up. It's a suborbital flight. Carrier aircraft banking away, heading back towards the spaceport. Jack's gonna have to move his camera pretty much straight up, so Jack's gonna adjust his camera.
Strato launching SSTOs is...
There it is.
Nah, K3, it becomes prohibitively expensive when you... Strato launching like this is a cool idea, K3, for sure. It's a cool idea. But it becomes prohibitively expensive when you want to launch something into space bigger than a shoebox. Yeah, you heard that right. Bigger than a shoebox. Strato launching doesn't make sense. Do you know why? It's great for small sat. Great for small sat stuff. So what Virgin Orbit is doing with the 747 and the small sat launcher on it, perfect. That's really freaking cool. Because your launch pad is a 747, which is amazing. That's really cool. But it does get prohibitively expensive once you want to launch anything of use. Not of use. Like, if you want to launch anything big into space, it doesn't make sense. The reason why it doesn't make sense is because, well, there's no plane that can lift up a fully fueled Falcon 9. There's not many things that can lift up a fully fueled Falcon 9 other than Falcon 9. Think about it. How's a plane going to move that? How's a plane going to move that? The biggest plane, even the Antonov 225, not even close. Maybe the Antonov 225 could probably move a Falcon 9 first stage empty, and that's about it. That's even pushing it. See what I'm saying? Even the Beluga, not even close. Rockets, the rocket would weigh more than the airplane by a long shot. That's why it becomes prohibitively expensive, because now you need a bigger plane. Can we make a bigger plane? Of course we can make a bigger plane. Bigger plane needs a bigger runway, and now you're talking about building an airport. Now you're talking about building the SLF. Look at how wide the shuttle landing facility is and how long that runway is. The runway is 3 miles long. It's 15,000 feet, which is, what, 5 kilometers long? Yeah, no joke. This stuff starts to get... the amount of stuff that you need to build on top of building a bigger plane, on top of building a bigger runway, on top of building a bigger hangar for this plane, on top of building all this stuff, that outweighs the cost of just making a rocket that just... The simplicity of a strato launcher is the fact that you use a plane that already exists. Or in this case, a plane that you made that's specially designed to do something like this, but not any bigger than a regular plane. I mean, the thing that launches this, the Eve, the mothership, is no bigger than like a 737. It's not that big. It's got a bigger wingspan maybe, but it's designed to work with pre-existing plane ground infrastructure. Or you just build it with rough terrain operations in mind and use Edwards' large expanses of a flat, dry lake bed. I mean, didn't they do that with the shuttle as well? But yeah, I mean, it's possible. But once again, like, I'm not saying that it's impossible. I'm not saying that you couldn't strato launch a Falcon 9. Yeah, you probably could. In fact, SpaceX themselves was planning on doing something like that at the very beginning of the company, right? But it just becomes prohibitively expensive. It's easier to just build a launch pad at that point than trying to engineer the biggest plane in the world. But it still is cool. But with my SSTO K3, I wouldn't do this. And even though Kerbal doesn't have... Planes in Kerbal are way overpowered. And rockets in Kerbal are decent enough. They're still heavy. I could make a plane that could move my Venture Star around. And I could probably make a plane that moves my Venture Star around with fuel in it, no problem. But... And I could probably use that to get into space. I could probably strato launch it. We could do it. But the thing is, I won't get my 747 back if we do, because I need to send that thing up, and that thing needs to get above 70 kilometers before the 747 gets 20 kilometers away. Unless my 747 can fly and cruise at 30 kilometers up, right? The Kraken will eat it. And I don't want my 747 getting eaten by the Kraken every time. The other way to do that would be to have a high enough... have a rocket with a crazy high TWR that it launches off of your strato launcher like a missile, and the apogee goes above 70 like within 10 to 15 seconds, and then you switch back to the 747 and you fly the 747 back down and land it, and then switch to your rocket and circularize. You could do it that way if you wanted to, but at that point, Why don't you just use a first stage and fly a first stage back like I do with Freedom? Much easier. Much easier. Much easier to juggle that stuff around. Either way, this is still cool. But, once again, straddle launching is a diminishing return. It's only really, really good if you utilize a plane that already exists, like a 747. Look at what's going on with straddle launcher. It's very difficult to go and re-engineer a plane that can take anything heavy up into space. Sounds like a hell of a ride. Oh, I'd ride this at Mana. That's the closest thing we're ever going to get to an X-15 flight. I'd ride the hell out of this thing. With that being said. But yeah, it's pretty awesome, man. Let's see. Where's the video? There's the unpowered flight. Is this the one? This is the one. Watch this video. This is one of my favorite space videos around, believe it or not. This video is great. Oh, nice. That's cool, C-22. Here, I gotta turn this up, dudes.
Three, two, one. Release, release, release.
Fire. Fire.
This is my favorite. The music just makes it, man.
Hey, welcome to Space Scotland. Congrats, Steve.
Welcome to the club, astronaut.
Thanks, Space. I like this club.
Bro. What a shot. That shot right there, man.
Astronaut.
Thanks, Space.
Look at this. That's the entire LA basin right there. And there's the valley. And you can see all the way down to San Diego. That's so goddamn cool. Yeah, astronauts. Yeah, I know. They use the Air Force classification for space, which no one else uses but the Air Force. What is that metallic stuff at the nozzle? Is it molten metal? It's probably ablative. It's an ablative nozzle, LFT. This rocket... So this thing's got basically a solid rocket booster attached in the back, but it's not just a solid rocket booster. It's actually a hybrid rocket engine. If anybody likes cars, I suppose, anybody likes cars, this solid rocket motor has nitrous. They're shooting nitrous into the SRB's combustion chamber. Yeah, with an ablator nozzle to keep everything cool. Those shards and stuff coming off is the inside of the nozzle liner getting melted away, because it melting away keeps the keeps the nozzle cool. Yeah, one-time use engine, but it's nitrous. It's got a nitrous system in it. Seriously, the igniters, they shoot nitrous into the combustion chamber to get more performance out of it. Go figure. If you can increase your oxidizer to fuel ratio, yeah, you burn more fuel faster, make more thrust into SPAC. Yeah, it has nitrous in it, Riz. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And it's an ablative nozzle. The other cool thing about this is that that nozzle is fixed. It's not gimbaled. This thing is basically, it's not ballistic, but it might as well be at this point. What I mean is that they're not steering this rocket engine. This rocket engine uses a cut nozzle. Anybody familiar with muzzle brakes on firearms at all? What if you look at the business end of like an AK or something, right? Like a modernized AK, they have a cut muzzle brake. Why would they 45 the rocket motor like that? See how the nozzle is crooked? Do you guys know? Because it looks cooler, no doubt, no doubt. So, if you look at an AKM, the Soviets, that's an idea that goes back a little ways. The Soviets came up with this. Or, well, specifically Mikhail Kalashnikov. See how the muzzle brake is, see how the brake on the end of the rifle right there is crooked? See that? What that is designed to do is when the bullet goes down the tube, right? The gas goes into the gas block, and then the bullet keeps going, and then when it comes out here, there's a split second where the bullet is like right here. The back of the bullet's coming out of the brake, and it goes this way, and the expansion gases go up instead of forward. They go up instead of forward, and that forces the nozzle, forces the barrel of the rifle down, and helps you control recoil. So you could you could go daka with that thing and put up. You could send out a lot of dakas very, very quickly. I mean, it's probably not recommended to go full rock and roll with that thing, but whatever. Going back over here, that nozzle does the exact same thing. Literally the exact same thing with rocket propellants. They cut one side of the nozzle, so the nozzle is 45'd, and that makes the gases go up. Like, in relation to the vehicle, the gases go this way, but they also go that way, and that's what pitches the vehicle up into the air. It just pitches the vehicle up, and then they feather it, the thing flips over, and it comes back down and lands. The thing does basically a huge loop in space. 5.54 AKs are much nicer to go full auto than 7.62 ones. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, King. I didn't know you liked girly calibers. That's fine. That's not a knock towards females at all. I'm just giving him crap. Imagine not wanting 30 cal. This post made by 7.62 gang. So this thing basically goes all the way up, right? It feathers like this, it flips over, and then it comes back down. It's really freaking cool. 5.45 is NATO standard. 5.56, Kim. 5.56. And still, no me gusta. Etel ni horosho. No. 7.62. I'm sorry, but what's the M4 using? Maybe I don't like the M4. That ever cross your mind? I got killed by 5.56? That's kind of cringe. $50 cal, Daigle. What you failed to realise, Geeson, is that your guns say replica down the side. And mine says Desert Eagle .50 should perpetuate your balls into shrinking along with your presence. It's a great movie. Soon. Yeah, Cord butchered the link again. Imagine liking 7.62 by 39 and not 51. Maybe I like 51. Yeah, I got it, Core. I got that link now. Sorry, it's stopping people, not elephants here. I'd rather be able to hit the guy after the first bullet. Or you could just hit him once with a 7.62, and even if he has body armor, you're gonna feel that one. Why can't you like both? I'm more or less kidding. I mean, a bullet's a bullet, Falcon. It really, I mean, getting hit by one, you're gonna feel it. You're gonna feel it. 50 cal's kind of cringe. This post was made by 46 centimeter gang. 46 centimeter? That's a battleship gun. That's 16 inches. That's a 16-inch gun. I mean, I agree with you. But anyway, the cut down nozzle is what pitches the vehicle up. That's what pitches it up. There's no control surfaces on it because they're going like Mach 3, right? That just pitches the vehicle up like this. It just gets it on a slow arc that goes higher and higher, which is really freaking cool. Wimps 30-06. Yeah. 30-06, 7.62 by 51. They're very close.
Yeah. Thanks, Space.
I like this club.
Me too. It's pretty cool. That would be pretty cool to see right there. Just putting it out there. Wimps. This message was This message was posted by Fat Man Gang. Well, the Fat Man isn't a firearm. You'd need Little Boy. Little Boy is a firearm. Uranium and what is it? Uranium shoots a uranium slug into something else, and yeah. Awesome view. I know, boss. Isn't that cool? I gotta see that someday, dude. I have to.
Space.
I like this club.
That's wild, man. That's wild. Fat Man was a plutonium implosion device. Little Boy is uranium. It's a uranium slug. The Little Man bomb basically has a gun barrel inside of it, and the gun barrel shoots a uranium slug at I forget what it shoots it at. It's something that causes the uranium to get really mad really fast. Is this for suborbital tourist hops? Yeah. How much would you pay for this view, King? It hits another piece of uranium? Yeah, that's what I thought. And then Fat Man basically has... It's a spherical thing. The Fat Man is a sphere, and instead of just shooting a uranium slug at another one and causing it to go nuclear, quite literally, Fat Man is a spherical design. It shoots at it from all angles and makes an even bigger explosion. Yeah. It's a spherical one instead of just... It has a lot of gun barrels instead of just one, and it's using plutonium instead. Much better yield. But, once again, we figured that out, but we figured that out for the wrong reasons. Plus, imagine using nuclear fuel to freaking explode. Like that, to blow up. That's dumb. Nuclear weapons are like... Using nuclear material to make like a nuclear weapon is about as dumb as using a car as a hammer. It's like, oh, there's that nail over there. Here, let me drive my car into the freaking side of this house so I can nail this nail in, right? That's bush league use. You'd be better to use the car as a car, right? You could do so many better things with nuclear material than make freaking explosives. Make it like I said, making explosives is bush league for nuclear stuff. It's a waste of energy. Yeah, exactly, right? I mean, you are the U.S. after all. Yeah, well, we only did it because we thought the Germans were doing it. Blame them, not us. What if you use that nuclear weapon to propel a spacecraft? Still, horribly inefficient, Synerd. Getting nuclear material to go, critical, and cause a chain reaction like that, is like, it would be like using a camera flash bulb as a light. It's about that useful. Oh, here's a lot of light real fast. You had a lot of light? Yeah, okay, great. You had a massive energy expenditure. Instead of having a light that you just click on and it stays on. Alright? It's like having a flash bulb and trying to use a flash bulb from a DSLR to read. That's like... Sure. I'm sure that's real useful. Not true. Nuclear saltwater engines are really inefficient. Are really efficient? What the hell? Wait, what? What are you talking about? Nuclear saltwater engine. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying use it for anything but making a bomb out of it. Making a bomb out of it is dumb. More talk about using the car to hammer a nail into something. You wouldn't want to ride a nuclear explosion, Synerd. Yeah, there you could do that, right? You wouldn't want to ride a nuclear explosion. And Nerva would be a much better application for that. You could go a lot further. There was a study that concluded the explosion at Chernobyl might have actually, for a very slight moment, become a nuclear explosion. Guinea, yeah, it's... So, like, the thing about it is, so, like, with nukes, you're controlling the flux, all right? You're controlling neutron flux, okay? So, there's a rate, a nuclear reactor basically has a rate of neutron flux, right? So they get neutron flux by basically rubbing uranium against other uranium, right? You just basically kind of do this. I mean, it's a little more complicated than that. You guys know that. I know that. I'm speaking very generally on purpose. So long story short, you have your delta F, you have your flux, right? And what a nuclear reactor does is just regulates that flux. That flux generates heat, and that heat heats up water, right? Now, a nuclear explosive, so like a nuclear warhead or an ICBM or something, right? That launches a nuke. What that basically does is get the flux to a certain rate where it causes a chain reaction, like a flash bulb, and just... And that's it. You can, I mean, you know how, like, nuclear material has a half-life. So, like, if you have a radioisothermic electric generator, like what's on Voyager 1 and 2, you can either just let it sit there and let it decay, right? And through that decay, it's going to create heat, right? It has a lot of energy inside of it. It's a nuclear energy density is insane. Like, the amount of energy that one little golf ball-sized piece of uranium has is unbelievable compared to, like, a golf ball-sized piece of coal, for instance, right? So a nuclear reactor regulates, like, it basically controls how much energy that thing is making. You control the neutron flux there, right? But you can push the neutron flux to, oh, what the hell is it called? You can push it to where it just has an uncontrolled chain reaction, right? If you just, like, if you redline a nuke, right? Redline, so to speak, it'll just make a huge chain reaction, right? And you'll basically get all the energy out of that nuclear material very quickly. That's what a nuke does. That's why I say it's useless. Like, it's not, I mean, it's not useless, but that's such like a primitive way of using that material, in my opinion. I understand mutually assured destruction and deterrence and all that other stuff. Don't get me wrong. But, like, it's just so, like, that's such a Bush League way of using that tech. Critical mass, that's what it's called. There you go. So, like, Guinea, in the context of Chernobyl, I don't know if it's hard to say whether any of the material reached critical mass, but the flux, the neutron flux that's what they mean. The neutron flux, the reaction, right, that happens, got to the point where it was in line with the reaction rate of a nuke. I don't think it reached critical mass, though. If it did, yeah, then, I mean, it was enough to blow the containment chamber a couple hundred meters in the air, so yeah, it's possible. I mean, that's more of a pressure explosion, though. That's not a nuke. It's like, yeah, I mean, I suppose, yeah, I guess. It's better to use this energy to make a giant laser gun or spacecraft propulsion. Just a thought. It's funny, the Orion drive, as was proposed to JFK way back, has been studied further several times and been found to be the most efficient way to use nuclear material to get massive amounts of payload to orbit. It even makes economical sense somehow. Partial test ban is what really killed the Orion drive. I mean, but what's the point of being able to get something to orbit if the launch pad that you launched that payload from is a friggin' crater in the ground? Like, I'd rather just use chemical rockets and then have a nuclear upper stage and then use that to go, like, to Pluto or something. Wasn't that from the steam, though? Well, Gießen, it dried up all the steam. They cut the coolant. That's what they were testing. First of all, testing on an operational reactor is pretty dumb. Yeah, that was the first mistake. It's pretty stupid. Hey, let's test this nuke and let's take all the safety systems off and then test it. Yeah. That's a great idea. Hey, let's launch this space shuttle when it's cold and windy out. Yeah, nothing bad will happen. Hey, let's have an inward opening hatch and a pure O2 environment inside of our spacecraft. A wire short? What's that? Yeah, that's true, guy. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it makes hydrogen. Even better. We know how that stuff likes blowing up. Let's make the oh poop button actually trigger the explosion. Well, actually, that's my thing. Everybody's like, oh, the RMBK reactors are terrible. RMBK reactors are terrible. It's like, no. There's still RMBK reactors running right now. They've been running for years, and they were built before Chernobyl. There's nothing wrong with it. If you remove the safety systems and then try to make it work, turns out that hitting the abort button can cause problems. I don't think there's any design flaw apocalypsis. They knew the risk of using a graphite tip, so they put a bunch of safety systems in place to make sure that wouldn't happen, and then it happened anyway. Yeah, Ando, nothing's ever foolproof, right? It's the UX for the reactor that sucks. Who designed this user experience? Anyway, let's get back into space news. Okay. I agree, Gaw. I mean, PEBCAC, yeah. Even after Chernobyl, how many of those nuclear plants were built? Dude, Kem, there's still RBMK reactors in Severomorsk. There's a 4-core reactor just like Chernobyl in Severomorsk, and it's still running to this day. Because if you take the safety systems off, just like the space shuttle, something's going to go wrong. Shocked Pikachu face. Like, we always say that the space shuttle was a management problem. Well, I can tend to say that that's pretty damn similar. It sounds the same to me. Everybody said the shuttle had a design flaw. I don't think the shuttle had a design flaw. I think it wasn't designed to launch in the cold. So if you launch it in the cold, bad stuff happens. Shocked Pikachu face. Really? Huh. Huh. Interesting. Didn't the other reactors at the Chernobyl power plant keep running? Yeah, they shut down the last one in the 2000s, Saitam. I mean, they did redesign the graphite tips, if I'm remembering right. But I don't know if they redesigned the graphite tips. I don't know. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. Yeah, it recently restarted, yeah. Yeah, Gek, I know. They, it sounds like the nuclear material down there ate up all the groundwater. That's the pain in the butt about nuclear material, right? If you just leave it there, it will naturally decay and it'll have neutron flux by itself. And that neutron flux generates heat, a lot of it. If you just leave it there, or if you bury it in the ground, it'll eventually heat up everything around it and it'll dry out the water table. And if it dries out, the water is a very good moderator for nuclear material. So nukes don't nuke as well when they're in water. That's why we submerge reactors in water to help make sure that it doesn't, right? Yeah, there you go, Kamir, right? Yeah, it's a management problem. So, we could use the waste to boil water for a steam turbine. Could we use the waste to... What waste, Flash? Excuse me. What's the context of your question? Sorry, carrying too many conversations. But yeah, in Chernobyl, the nuclear material, they started detecting high amounts of neutron flux. And I think it's because the nuclear material in the ground dried up all the water. It dried up the water table. I think we're talking about nuclear waste. The nuclear waste that's at the bottom of reactor 4, Flash Wolf, in the ground. Yeah, that... They started detecting high amounts of neutron flux from the safe confinement chamber in Chernobyl, which is covering reactor 4 to make sure that this, because the sarcophagus started leaking, right? And I think that waste dried up all the groundwater around it. It evaporated all of it. And if it evaporates, that nuclear material can't be used, can't moderate it. It can't be moderated. There's no water in the ground, so it's gonna start just decaying like it should, right? So like, think about nuclear material like a sparkling, like a firework, like a sparkling firework. Like, you know, you lighted the sparklers that you see kids playing. The nuclear material, just like a sparker, if you leave it there, it'll decay. It'll decay over time, and eventually it'll just be inert. Well, not inert, but it's... Half-Life gets a little weird like that. Great game, though. You can... But imagine you can control... You can make the sparkler burn at a slower rate or a faster rate. Or you could get it to light on fire all at once. Lighting on fire all at once, that's the nuclear option. That's the... Or you could get it to slow burn over time, but even if you just leave it there, it's still going to decay. And that decay will generate heat, just like the sparkler would. But you have a certain amount of time before the nuclear material just... The half-life rate would be... See, this is the part where it gets... Where I don't know too well. I don't know what happens if something fully decays, if nuclear material fully decays. I think it moves to a non-radioactive... I think it's a non-radioactive isotope of that element, but this is getting into physics that I don't understand. I'm not gonna lie to you. That's the part where I'm like, I'd actually... Anybody a physicist around? What happens when radioactive material fully decays? It always heads to lead. Endpoint of uranium decay is lead. Turns into another element. Yeah, non-radioactive, right? Yeah, there you go. It becomes stable. That's wild stuff, man. We should use that? We're stupid. Why are we burning dinosaur bones in the ground when we have this? Yeah, it's dangerous. I get it. Yeah, I get. So is burning coal. Yeah, a sparkler will last you a couple minutes, Flash Wolf, but nuclear material takes a long time to decay. It depends on the half-life. The half-life of nuclear material is the rate at which it decays. So some radioactive isotopes have a very short half-life, some have a very long half-life. And that's the primary reason why Chernobyl is screwed. Like, that area just, yeah, because there's a ton of nuclear material. It was a fully loaded nuclear reactor. There's a ton of nuclear material in there, and it's going to take millions of years to decay. Well, not millions, thousands probably. Now, don't get the Combine involved. One word, fear. I'm all for it, but we've lost... Yeah, Blue, no, let's not go down that road, but I agree. I think people fear what they don't understand, and that's kind of what I try to change here to an extent. We've discovered natural nuclear reactors, you know. That's cool, Synerd. Yeah, nuclear physics is cool. Nuclear stuff shouldn't exist. That shouldn't exist. It's the weirdest thing. This ball of metal just radiates heat. All right. Like somebody at some point, Marie Curie, is who I'm thinking, Somebody at some point needed to look at that and go, why the heck is that thing making heat? And no, it's not a deity or something. I mean, it might be, you know. What's up, buddy? Where's the hair and the glasses? SN-15 landed, Alexius, so I said I would get a crew cut if it landed, and here I am. The glasses, I don't know, dude. I haven't worn the glasses in a long time. 2017. It's almost to the point where I've more streaming under my belt without glasses than I do with. The shortfall. Wait. Atlas Space Operations Center currently has 3 Atlas 5s. Here's 2 of them. Cool, cool. Can I post a link? Sure, with mod permission, Gord. Oh, that's nice, Phil. I like that. There is uranium mine in Africa that was low on U-235. Turns out about 2.5 billion years ago, a natural groundwater controlled reaction went on for several million years. Cool. That's cool. Nuclear physics is really cool. You know what we should do? We should take those nuclear physics things, we should take that thing and use it to make a power plant for a spacecraft and a propulsion system. You know what we can do? It'll get really, really hot, and we can use that heat energy in a closed steam loop to generate electricity on a spacecraft. And you know what we could also do? We could also use, like, oh, I don't know, liquid hydrogen to cool it and flow liquid hydrogen over it, and it'll exchange the heat. And rapidly expanding gases is how a rocket engine works. So, like, if you put the nuke inside of a combustion chamber, you have hydrogen injectors. You don't even need an oxidizer. Just flow hydrogen through the nuclear reactor instead of water, and it'll exchange the heat, and hydrogen is very conductive of heat. It'll expand like crazy, and then just put a funnel at the end and have it go out and out. That's a good idea. We should do that. We should do that. Now you're just making too much sense. No, what I'm describing for the people that don't know is a NERVA, a nuclear thermal propulsion. NERVA is a thing. It's absolutely a thing. They basically have. It's like if you took an RL-10 and put a nuke in the back. That's basically it's basic design. They made them in the 60s. They restarted the nuclear program too, for what it's worth. There we go. Check this out. Literally a nuclear reactor inside of a rocket engine. Yeah, pretty cool, huh? So they put liquid hydrogen in. Liquid hydrogen goes into the nozzle like an RL-10. It expands. It exchanges the heat because liquid hydrogen is really, really cold. It exchanges the heat, right? And then it goes back up, and that exchanging heat turns the turbo pump. That expanding gases turns the turbo pumps, and then the turbo pumps feed liquid hydrogen through the internal shield into the control drum, right? It flows the cool liquid hydrogen over the nuclear reactor. The nuclear reactor is decaying, right? And the hydrogen absorbs all that heat from the decay. And the decay also, you can also use the decay to generate electricity. You could turn this into an RTG if you want as well. And then all that hydrogen expands and shoots out the nozzle. Nuclear engines, man. It's a thing. And they restarted the NERVA program in 2017. If you're going to do nuclear propulsion, Orion is the way to go. Yeah, I mean, Orion is cool twitching, but also I want a launch pad left over when I go to launch something into space, and having an Orion drive kind of makes it whatever is on the business side of the vehicle. Yeah, you're gonna lose. You should show the video on how they make it throttleable, the mechanism. Oh yeah, it's wild stuff, J-Speed, isn't it? You could use Orion as a second stage. Oh. So high altitude nuclear detonations. Yeah. Didn't they make a Bond movie about that one time? Best part is you could replace the hydrogen with a storable propellant. Yeah, the problem is that nuclear reactions generate crazy electromagnetic fields. Because of the release of I think it's because of the crazy release of energy. They create electromagnetic pulse. So like GoldenEye, right? An EMP can do bad things to anything that's electronic that's near it, including the spacecraft. I mean, maybe for deep space propulsion twitching, yeah. I mean, yeah, that would be cool. But I think for around Earth, we should probably do this instead. You probably, yeah. Just use the parking lot. That's cool, Forge. Speaking of Orion and launch vehicles, did you ever hear about the shaft cover that was suspected to have been the first man-made object launched into space via a fission detonation below ground? Jim, I'm gonna guess that burned up. It experienced re-entry heating on ascent, and it's probably gone. But yeah, I know about that, yeah. I mean, who knew? If you have a nuke, if you basically put a gun barrel in the ground facing straight up nuclear silo style, and you have a nuke at the bottom and a barrel on the top, they literally made a gun that can shoot things into space. Problem is that unless it it didn't have a heat shield, dude, so it probably burned up. But yeah, nuclear thermal. This thing is huge, and NASA restarted this in 2017. They have contracts out with a company called BWXT and Blue Origin. You heard that right.
Discovery, go at throttle.
Blue Origin has a contract with NASA to research nuclear propulsion systems. I don't know why. I can't figure that one out. Also DARPA. Yep. It's entirely possible. No, sorry. It literally didn't have the time to heat up before it was out of the atmosphere. Yeah, it kind of depends on how much, I mean, gravity, I mean, you know this. It would depend on how much heat, like, first and foremost, it depends on what it was made out of, okay? Now, how long would it take at the rate that it's being heated at to get critical mass and start melting, right? So, like, we were talking about this when we were talking about thermal protection systems the other day. There's only, like, if you have a metal block of aluminum and a metal block of steel that are the exact same volume, right? And you heat this one up, you can only put so much heat into it before it achieves critical mass, and then it'll melt. Like, that's what happens when metal melts. You hit critical mass, and it can't absorb any more heat. Now, keep in mind that, like, a targeted thing, so, like, if I took a blowtorch and put it right up to it and heated one particular area, you have how much heat the thing can absorb, and then you have flux. You have how much it can move the heat around. So, like, if you have something like aluminum has high flux. So if you heated it, the whole cube would absorb all the heat. Whereas if you have steel and you heat it up one spot, you could probably not hold the back. You can't do that. Don't do that. If you had a glove, you could probably do it, right? And you'd melt, like, one particular point of the steel. But that also depends on how the heat is coming at it. If you put it in an oven, right, and you heat up the whole thing, or, it'll absorb way more heat than if you hit it with the torch, like, right away. Well, not absorb way more heat, but yeah, it'll melt the whole thing will heat up as opposed to one spot. So it's a flux thing and not critical mass, which is different. I'm learning about that stuff, and I know that's like basic physics stuff, but guys, I dicked off in physics. I didn't pay attention. So I'm relearning it, which is really cool. Yeah, Grav. There you go. No, J-Speed. What else? Oh no, ULA and SpaceX are really behind schedule. Delays surface in planned U.S. Space Force launches under NSSL. This is coming from Satellite Today. What's allowing it to slip? Okay, there's a bunch of fluff information in here. They have not disclosed the reasons why. Forge. Really? Come on. Last August 7th, under Phase 2 of NSSL, Space and Missile Systems, in partnership with the NRO, the National Reconnaissance Office, awarded ULA $337 million for 2 classified launches in 2022, F-51 and F-106. And SpaceX, a $316 million contract for 1 classified mission launch, F-67. The Space Force and SpaceX has not disclosed the reason or reasons why the SpaceX contract for the USS F-67 is double the unit launch cost of F-51 and F-106. Really? Yes, they have. Gwen Shotwell definitely said that the reason why SpaceX got $300 million for 1 and ULA got $337 for 2 is because they're building the service structure for Falcon Heavy at 39A so it can handle a bigger payload fairing so it can launch the payload. That was disclosed. Gwen Shotwell said that in a press conference. National Security Space Launch Weather Guy. NSSL is the kind of the criteria and contract for launching national security payloads. The Air Force likes to have rockets at their disposal, and they like to be able to. The Space Force now they have something called assured access to space. Basically, NSSL is the money allocated to be able to basically launch any rocket at any NSSL certified rocket at any time for any payload. Falcon 9 and Vulcan and Atlas 5 are NSSL certified Atlas 5's NSSL certified, but it kind of is and it kind of isn't. Vulcan is NSSL certified on paper, and Falcon is NSSL certified for real. When are they building that new pad infrastructure? Hell if I know. When's that mission supposed to take place? Read the Falcon Heavy parts. It's mostly payload delays. Does the NSSL cert for Falcon 9 mean they specifically have to keep a Falcon 9 as close to ready to go as possible at all times? I mean, SpaceX probably would have done that anyway, Synerd, but yeah, for the most part. This is the reason. So, Synerd, remember when everybody barked up ULA's tree about everybody barked up their tree about having the Air Force paying them money to keep their pads operational? Do you know, the Air Force basically said, we are going to pay you we're going to eat the cost on the maintenance on all the infrastructure to launch Atlas and Delta, right? And, you need to be ready basically when we say. And ULA said, sure, all right, fine. No problem. And everybody got mad. Everybody's like, you can't do that. You can't have that. You can't have them just get paid to do nothing. Well, this is the reason. This is the reason. Payloads, some of the Department of Defense payloads will take time. Like, for instance, if you're, grinding a frigging lens for a spy satellite or something, just because it's a digital satellite doesn't mean it doesn't have a lens, right? A DSLR has a lens. You know what I mean? So this stuff might take time. Like, I don't know if that's that's the specific reason. I was just making something up. This stuff takes time, and you never know when you're going to launch, but you want to have that capability available at all times because you would rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it, right? That's what everybody called it a subsidy, but it's not a subsidy. The Air Force was just paying Torre Bruno to be ready. And the reason is because you don't know when you're going to launch this stuff because some of the experimental, who knows what the hell they're sending up there. To be honest, it could be experimental, it could be anything. Some of that stuff takes time. It takes time to figure out, and you never know when you're going to launch. It's very clear, at least from that article, that payloads are the constraint, not the rockets, and that proves ULA's theory about, getting that money to maintain the pads because the demand isn't low, but it is there, but it's low. It doesn't happen very often. Hey, Rocket Guy, what's up? That first gateway module is using the extended fairing? I think so, Tree, yeah. SpaceX already does make a rocket ready for short notice missions. L-108 and Zuma. I mean, SpaceX can take a Falcon 9 and launch it whenever they want. To be fair, Forge, so can ULA. Tor Bruno said on Twitter the other day that if the conditions were right and they had an Atlas V, they could move the order around and launch something 2 to 3 week notice. Sure, no problem. Was Zuma short notice? Zythera, Zuma, and no, I don't know what happened. I have no idea. It didn't work, whatever it was. Zuma came on the books like 2 weeks. 2 weeks before a scheduled launch. And it went from having no mention to being on the books and a scheduled launch in like less than a month. Yeah, that's peculiar. That's peculiar. We don't know where that thing came from. We don't know who paid for it to be launched. Yeah. I have no idea where that thing came from. All I know is that it usually takes a spaceflight mission a couple of years to do a launch campaign. Basically, from the time you say, hey, I want to build this satellite and launch it on a rocket to T-5, 4, 3, 2, 1 liftoff. That's usually a year to 2 years, depending on how complicated the payload is. That campaign came about in 2 weeks. In 2 weeks. Yeah. Yeah. You know what? You know what, man? I cover a lot of this stuff. I cover a lot of spaceflight stuff. Whenever I see something like that, my mind is telling me, oh, dude, we should really try to figure out what that is. But then cooler heads prevail, and I'm like, you know what? Whatever that is, I don't want to know. I don't even want to know. I don't want to know. I don't want to know. I'll just be over here. Nope. Don't tell me. I mean, not that they would, but nope. I don't want to know. Yeah, Thomas, I do not want to know. I don't want to know anything about this. The payload was lost. Nope. It's best not to go snooping around like that. Let's not do that. That's a bad idea. It was aliens. I'm not saying it was aliens. But it was aliens. Exactly, roundabout. I know nothing. I know nothing. Do you believe in aliens? Yeah, sure, Alexius. The universe is too big, dude. Probability states that there's something out there, but Alexius, in the way that 500, 600 years ago, reaching the continent of North America was very remote and very distant, and different civilizations sprouted up on both continents, right? Sailing across the ocean 500 years ago, which would take months by a sailboat, right? It would take months. It would take months to go to Mars now. It would take years to get to another, like 20 years to get to another solar system. We just can't get there. But that doesn't mean that something doesn't exist out there. I mean, we wouldn't be able to tell. You can't tell from looking at a planet with a telescope. If you looked at Earth from the moon, you would see no evidence of any civilization at all. You just see green and blue with white clouds. You don't see any cities or anything. It'd be really difficult to tell. You got Sergeant Schultz over here. Yeah, right? At night you would. Yeah, I suppose. I mean, roundabout, but that light coming from the surface would diffuse over time. Even from the moon, you probably wouldn't be able to see it. I'm pretty sure about that. Because the atmosphere would diffuse most of it. Light pollution and stuff, right? Do we want aliens to find us? K3, here's where I sit on this. Are aliens out there? Yeah, probably. Do they know we're here? Don't know. Do we know they're there? I have no idea. I couldn't tell you. What I do know is that, you know what? I've watched a lot of sci-fi. I want to be the ones finding the alien species, not vice versa. I don't want Independence Day. I want Star Trek. Understand? I want to be the ones doing the finding, not the ones being discovered. Can we not? I don't want that second one. That could be bad. Yeah, that could be problematic. I want the first one. I want prime directive, not extermination. Understand? The Vulcans found us. Yes. Yeah. Uh-huh. Well, wait a minute. No, didn't the Vulcans find Zephyrim Cochrane, who figured out... Hey, Tyler, thank you for the raid. You guys know my buddy Tyler has. He's playing some Kerbal today. How was your Kerbal stream, my friend? He used a warp drive and they detected it to come and look. Yeah. But what's the probability that we're going to find a species like Vulcans out there? I would say that we're more likely to find like the Flood from Halo or something, or Tribbles from Star Trek. Like, oh, they had their prime directive. Yep. Either way, Endo, like, yeah, that's one sci-fi where that's the case. But either way, I want to be the ones finding other aliens. I don't want to be the ones getting discovered. The bugs from Clandathu. Oh God, not Tribbles. No. I mean, Weather Guy. I guarantee you, we ain't gonna find a bipedal species. Whatever the hell we find, we ain't gonna find humans. I mean, well, actually, I don't know that for sure. How crazy would that actually be? Like, we go to Alpha Centauri and there's humans there? And how much crazier would it be if we went to Alpha Centauri, there were humans there, and they spoke English? That would be really... I'd be like, okay, yep. I don't want to live on this planet anymore? Are we the baddies? Good luck outrunning all the radio signals we've sent out. Yeah. Chat, change my mind. In Starship Troopers, humans are totally the baddies. They're space xenophobes. I think you're confusing Ender's Game with Starship Troopers. Is Ender's Game just Starship Troopers from a different perspective? Wow, that really changed that story. Ooh. You gotta read the book, Grab Shark. There's a reason humanity is like that. You have to read the book. I know. But in the movie, they don't exactly convey why. You gotta watch the book. Watch the book. Yeah, I mean, we can do that nowadays. There's audiobooks and stuff, computers and stuff. I could read it, computers. Okay. You can read a movie script, Riz. Yeah, Grav, you gotta read the book. Or watch it. I don't know, you could sit and stare at it. The men who stare at books. Starship Troopers is I believe that's Marine Corps OCS required reading. I don't know why I would say that. I may have been getting that confused with Halo. Who knows? Have you seen this? On page 50, they talk about Dragon XL and how they might change some things to launch on a fully expended Falcon Heavy. Alright. Couple more things here, and then we'll get to the Starship videos. We got to do the Russian news too. What is it? Page 50? Deep Space Laboratory project does not yet have a preliminary cost and schedule estimate. NASA plans to review the project's preliminary cost and schedule estimate at an upcoming Gateway program level review planned for spring of 2021. In March 2020, NASA awarded an initial firm fixed price, indefinite delivery, indefinite quantity contract to SpaceX, which guarantees the company a minimum of 2 logistics missions to Gateway. SpaceX is responsible for the design, development, launch, transit, operating, and disposal of a logistics vehicle. NASA may make further indefinite delivery, indefinite quantity contract awards to additional logistics service providers, allowing them to compete for future missions with a total maximum value of $7 billion across all task orders. I have the Nauka video. It's right here. I'm going to read this. I can read faster because we got to get back to the SSDO stuff. Yeah, give me 1 second. Huh. It's in the second paragraph. I just read the second paragraph. Yeah, Grav, read the book. The book's awesome. Well, it's not the movie. Let's leave it at that. It's not awesome, but it's... A lot got lost in translation when they made that into a movie. They made it into a popcorn flick, and it's not a popcorn flick. So we might see 2 fully expendable Falcon Heavies. Service guarantees citizenship. I'm doing my part. Would you like to know more? Yeah, the book's way better, dude. Remember Buenos Aires. Interesting film. All right, let's get to the Russian news here. Let's see what we got. Roscosmos recently released some video of welding on the Soyuz 5 LOX test tank in their latest Space Wednesday video.
Госкомиссия завершила отбор кандидатов на участие в космическом полете для съемок художественного фильма с рабочим названием «Вызов». Решено рекомендовать к назначению в основной экипаж актрису Юлию Пересильд и режиссера Клима Шипенко. Съемки пройдут на МКС. Старт экспедиции запланирован на 5 октября 2021 года с космодрома Байконур на корабле «Союз МС-19». Отобранные кандидаты начнут специальную подготовку не позднее 1 июня, все этапы которой будут показаны в эфире Первого канала. Художественный фильм «Вызов» — часть большого научно-просветительского проекта, в рамках которого планируется снять цикл документальных фильмов о предприятиях и специалистах ракетно-космической отрасли. Также компания Space Adventures объявила о начале подготовки к полету на Международную космическую станцию японского предпринимателя Юсаку Маэзавы. Он отправится на МКС со своим ассистентом Йоза Хирана на корабле «Союз МС-20». Запуск запланирован на 8 декабря 2021 года с космодрома Байконур. Длительность полета составит 12 дней. Командиром экипажа станет космонавт Роскосмоса Александр Мисуркин.
That's the commander of the mission that's going to launch with Yusaku.
19 мая российский спутник Канопус-В номер 5 и японский Аснара сблизились на орбите, пройдя друг от друга на расстоянии всего 200 метров, после чего траектории их полета разошлись. Российская автоматизированная система предупреждения об опасных ситуациях в околоземном космическом пространстве ежедневно фиксирует до 10 опасных сближений спутников Российской Федерации с космическими объектами. Об этом рассказал в интервью ТАСС начальник информационно-аналитического центра ЦНИИМАШ Игорь Бакарас. Автоматизированная система предупреждения об опасных
Yeah,
ситуациях в
we wouldn't
околоземном
want that to
космическом
happen. That's
пространстве
bad.
создана и функционирует с 2016 года. Оптико-электронные комплексы в автоматическом режиме обнаруживают космические аппараты и объекты космического мусора, а также определяют их координаты. По словам специалиста, существенный рост аппаратов в космосе в последние годы вызван запуском на низкие околоземные орбиты больших двух спутников, в том числе Starlink и OneWeb. Также в околоземном пространстве находится около 3900 работающих спутников и 2800 прекративших свою деятельность и по факту являющихся космическим мусором. Игорь Бакарас отметил, в 2020 году зафиксировано 220 опасных сближений с МКС и более 4000 с отечественными космическими аппаратами. На космодроме «Восточный» идет подготовка к запуску спутников компании OneWeb. 36 аппаратов будут выведены на орбиты с помощью ракеты-носителя «Союз-2-1Б» и разгонного блока «Фрегат». В монтажно-испытательном корпусе проведена накатка обтекателя на головной блок и проведены электрические испытания. Низкоорбитальные космические аппараты OneWeb предназначены для обеспечения наземных потребителей высокоскоростным интернетом напрямую через спутниковую связь. Запуск ракеты-носителя «Союз» со спутниками OneWeb с космодрома «Восточный» запланирован на 27 мая.
So that was another OneWeb mission is being ready to launch out of Vostochny on a Soyuz rocket. Let's get over. Yeah, it's the next thing on in the news breakdown. Can we have a full room of SLSs like how they have one of Soyuz? Well, that's what I've been saying for a long time, Whitey. They should block by the SLS and just make them on a factory floor. Eventually, over time, that project would be cheaper. It would require a bigger initial cost, but in the long run, you lower the cost of launching the SLS by launching more of them. Buying in bulk makes sense. Buying in bulk works. It works when you're going to buy toilet paper, or it works if you're going to buy rockets. Okay, toilet paper may have been a bad example given last year, but you get the idea. Hey, I'm new to KSP. What do I need to separate the first stage to the second stage, and why is my second stage getting hot? A decoupler, and why your second stage is getting hot is it could be re-entering, could be falling back down.
В ракетно-космическом центре «Прогресс» завершили сварку бака окислителя первой ступени для новой ракеты-носителя «Союз-5». Проведенный рентген-контроль подтвердил отсутствие дефектов при выполнении сварных швов. После монтажа оборудования бак будет направлен в Центральный научно-исследовательский институт машиностроения для проведения динамических испытаний. Перспективная двухступенчатая ракета-носитель среднего класса «Союз-5» разрабатывается с целью обеспечения запусков автоматических космических аппаратов на солнечно-синхронные, высокоэллиптические, геопереходные и геостационарные.
So, aluminum. I don't think it's stir welded particularly, but there's the barrel segment. See these? These are the barrels, just like Starship. Similar, only not the same metal. And it looks like their welding jig is something a little different. I think they might be stick welding it. But stick welding aluminum doesn't make sense. GR2 is being unberthed for the next Starlink mission. Cool. Starlink sats are so easy to see on stuff in .space. Yep. I mean, I bulk ordered 48 rolls online last year after the supply problems passed. Yeah. Buying in bulk makes sense.
Орбиты. В ее составе будут использоваться новые двигатели. Это маршевый двигатель первой ступени РД-171МВ разработки НПО «Энергомаш» и двигатель второй ступени РД-0124МС разработки Воронежского конструкторского бюро химавтоматики. Первый тестовый запуск новой ракеты-носителя планируется в 2023 году с космодрома Байконур в рамках российско-казахстанского проекта «Байтерек».
Yeah, Baytarek. Yeah, they're gonna convert a Zenit launch pad for Soyuz 5. Huh. The RD-170 didn't make sense either. Did I just see their mission control using CRT monitors?
Витая.
Let me take a
Ее
look. So this is... Okay. I don't see any CRTs. We've never seen static fires either of this. Interesting. They had CRT monitors in the control room. Let me see. Yeah. Yeah. Guys, God knows how old this damn test stand is. They still have consoles there. Forget the CRT monitors. This is the 80s stuff right here. This is the 70s and the 60s right there. I mean, you know good and well the Russians believe if it ain't broke, don't friggin' fix it. Yeah, the combustion looks weird. It's probably because it's on the test stand. No, it's not re-entry. Someone in chat said, because I'm going too fast and turning too quick, thanks anyway. They got a word for that, Velo. It's called re-entry. Or just, it's called shock heating if you really want to be technical. It happens on the way up if you go too fast. It's the same thing that happens during re-entry. The only real difference is that one of them is when you're going down and one of them is when you're going up. This is part of the reason why rockets throttle back. They throttle back so that doesn't happen, to control the heating and aero loads on the vehicle, more or less, but also heating as well. So that's bidirect. This is a Zenit launch pad. Zenit, the Zenit rocket was manufactured in Ukraine, and I don't think I need to say why they're not doing that anymore. That was derived from Buran Energia's side boosters. So a Zenit rocket would be like Ares 1, I guess. That would probably be the closest equivalent. Well, roundabout, you're controlling the throttle for thermal, I mean, even all the way up into the higher parts of the atmosphere, but max Q is more for structural, but yeah, you still control it on the way up. Nice, Sebi. I figured out rocket science isn't just hard, it's very hard. Velo, rocket science is a never-ending rabbit hole of difficulty. Even me, I've been into this stuff for a very long time. I'm still learning new things every day. Just when you think you got a good hold on it, you go and try to learn something new, and yeah, you realize you know nothing. Yeah, it happens all the time. Oh yeah. Yeah, it doesn't get better. Just when you think it's like, okay, I think I understand how difficult this is. No. It becomes more difficult. Moment you think you got it figured, you're wrong.
В рамках российско-казахстанского проекта «Байтерек».
Okay, we're gonna switch to the next video here. So this one is footage from Roscosmos of them putting the European manipulator system on the Nauka module. The Nauka module is a space station module or a science module. Nauka means science in Russian. So the Nauka module is a science module that Roscosmos is going to launch up to the space station in a couple of months, give or take. And part of what Nauka has on it is a remote manipulator system, a little mini Canadarm, if you will, not made in Canada, made by the Europeans. And here's footage of them loading it onto the launch vehicle. Creative naming. Dogecoin Brazil? What? It says Digicoin Brazil. I know. Ah, Fragile. Must be Italian. That's a load leveling hook. So they're lifting the cover off. This is the cover. This thing probably came in either on a train or an airplane. I'm guessing because of the size, it was most likely a train. Hand. Ah, yes. Did you guys see that? Did you guys see that? There was, see? It's Russian. Деднец стендиргет. It's Russian, see? I know it's English upside down, for the love of God. It's Aramaic? What century is this, Wolfram? Alright, let's get to the good stuff. Yeah, there it is. Alright, I want to see. Put it on the thingy. Put it on the thingy. Whoa. It's a little squeaky, don't you think? See, they folded the two sides down because it's gonna, the module is cylindric and they're gonna drop it on the top. Not drop it, please don't drop it. They're gonna put it on the top. He's a doctor, you gotta trust him. You won't hear it in space. If you were inside of the space station, you'd hear the squeaks. Not outside though, no. It's okay, we won't hear the sound in space. And the arm's supposed to go outside, yeah. Why is all the space stuff white? Thermal, frilled. Thermal. Heat is a pain in the butt up in space. You want something that reflects light, and you don't want something that absorbs it. And the parts that are darker are for thermal protection. Like the darker stuff, if it's not white, it's painted really, really dark, and the darker stuff is designed to just straight up resist the heat. But in space, you can't convect heat away from something. There's no heat sinks and stuff because it's in the vacuum. There's nothing to move that heat into, right? So they put a lot of thermal protection materials on it that are lighter, like gold or white, to reflect the light away so the vehicle doesn't absorb heat. Absorbing heat is a pain in the butt, dude. If you had like a computer, right, provided the radiation wouldn't destroy it, if you just took your computer that you have on your desk or your mobile device or whatever, and you put it out in the vacuum and provided that the radiation wouldn't fry the damn thing right away, you got it to work, it would get so hot it would just melt itself. Like, I'm talking hotter than the surface of the sun or hotter than an old IBM laptop, which is hotter than the surface of the joke. It was I'm joke. Okay. So, like, you can't convect the heat out because the computers use fans. You can't use that in space. The fans just move air around, right? You can't do that in space. So you have to have like a liquid cooling system, right? So thermal management and thermal control on a spacecraft is very, very important, especially stuff that has people inside of it. Pretty good comparison. Yeah, and some people got it. But like, see up here at the front, that's designed to straight up resist. Like that part's just it's insulation basically. I forget the reason why the ring on this is dark, to be honest with you. It's part of the docking port. So their space station modules, basically, the Russians have two types of modules, or two types of docking rings. They have SSVP, which is Soyuz, right? And then they have the androgenous peripheral attachment system, which is called APAS for short. That's just a holder for the arm. It's a grapple end for the arm there, so the thing doesn't do this on the way up. We don't need Nauka giving jazz hands on the way up into space. Off topic, did you see the city's got some DLC? I did. Oh, yes. I like this picture. This shows really the whole thing. That's the clean room to get into the module because you don't want any foreign object debris in there. You don't want any dust or anything around in the module because what happens to the dust if you launch it into space? It starts floating around. And you know good and well that it floating around, dust will find its way into play. It'll find a way to get into places where you had no idea it could get. Just like dust does down here, it'll do that up there. The last thing you want is it finding its way into a computer and shorting out a motherboard. So you really don't want a lot of dust up there. At least minimize as much as you can, amongst other things. Dust, hairs, no foreign object debris. So they have a clean room right there that's attached to the aft docking port. And then that's if somebody needs to get inside and do work on the inside of the module. Just like that time when they found wood dust in progress, yeah. See, these are the service gantries right here. That is the payload attachment fitting. This piece right here will be attached to the flange on the bottom of Nauka. It'll be attached right here. This piece is going to turn 90 degrees to the left and attach to where that ring is right there. And then once they do that, they got the fairings for it over there. See the fairings in the background? They'll attach this piece to it, and then the fairings attach to this as well. It's got two attachment points, like two rings. There's an outer ring and an inner ring. Module goes on the inner ring, fairing goes on the outer ring. A lot of payload attachment adapters work like this. And then this thing will bolt internally to the top of Proton's second stage. But you wouldn't do that. You wouldn't do that yet. You don't need the stage in the payload room because the stage is in payload. I know. This is all the pneumatic systems. That's what these three consoles are for. All the pneumatics for testing the, any pneumatic system, any pressurized system on there. What are those semicircular things to the left of the adapter? These things right here? It's testing equipment, Adam. Yeah, these test all the pneumatic systems. So they test like the oxygen tanks and stuff. Because that's technically a pneumatic system, right? They test the O2 tanks. They test the waste tanks. That's what all this equipment is for. And if this equipment looks old school, well, it is. If I had to guess, this is probably the testing equipment left over from the Salyut program, or Mir. Yeah, seriously, it's those pneumatic testing consoles are probably very old. What is this, by the way? That's Nauka, the Russian science module that they're going to launch to the ISS in July, Van? What's the cradle in the upper right? Fairings. That holds the fairings. It's a cradle for the fairing, John, because fairings are weeble wobbly. They're not. It's just a fairing. It's not designed to be. Think of it like the bumper of a car. Like the bumper of a car isn't the bumper. There's a plastic covering, and then there's some styrofoam, and then the metal bumper is behind it, right? Like it's flimsy, right? If you ever messed with the front bumper of a newer car, it's very flimsy, right? The fairing's the same way. So they need a cradle to move it around. We do the same thing. Yeah, we do that. We do the exact same thing with fairings. You have to especially do it with composite fairings, like what SpaceX has, or Atlas or Vulcan or Delta. They use carbon composite fairings with an aluminum honeycomb. So think like how cardboard is made. Cardboard is like two pieces of paper and then a corrugated piece in the center, right? Fairings are made exactly like that, but the outer pieces are carbon composite, and then the squiggly bit in the center is aluminum. Yeah, they're very, very light. It's not that. If you can't buy new stuff, just use the stuff that still works until you can replace it at some point. Hey, Kem, I believe in that. I apply that philosophy to cars all the time. I don't need a new car. I like my old car, and I keep my old car running, and it works correctly. Well, not the truck, but you get the idea. Geek, I have returned. I saw your pictures, man. Very nice. It's like a Slurpee cup where it's stiff when the lid is on, but flimsy when it's not. That's what the cradle does, Tree. Yeah. I found that clean rooms are really just big operating rooms for rockets. I mean, foreign object debris on the operating table is equally as bad, Green. You don't want an infection, right? You know how bad that can... You know how bad that'll happen. Yeah, that infections are no good. Having a sterile environment when you're working on humans... Because, yeah, when you work on the human, you do not want foreign object debris getting in there. You don't want to leave a scalpel in there. That's bad. Yeah, that wouldn't end well. Yeah, they're not that far off. Cool. There's Nauka vacuum testing right there. Turn the autoplay off. All right, let's see what else we got. Couple more videos here, guys, and then we'll go. In the spirit of yesterday, I built a spirit of my own and went on a jaunt. Oh, nice, Jason. That's cool. All right, let's go. Want a junior mint? Nah, I'm good, Keith. Ooh. This is Vostochny, the OneWeb thing that we were, the OneWeb payload that we were talking about. Here's the rollout for it. Ooh, come on. Very nice. Hey, you guys got pickup trucks over there. That thing was parked there last time, but still, very nice. A few weeks ago, we had to remove a leg that got infected after another hospital had a retained sponge. We found it using an RFID tag. Can you imagine being that person, Green? I'd be friggin' pissed. They park it there for the video. Yeah, right? I mean, that thing's cool. But, I mean, if we're going to play SnowRunner, Chem, I want this thing over here. Give me the truck. That truck's nice, but that truck's better. Oh, Keith, that's right. Yeah. There. Quad cab Zill. Yeah, you as. Ferd is everywhere. You cannot compete. I don't see any Chevys around here, man. I see Fords and Zeal. Yeah, Ferd transit van. Yeah, the Zill. Yeah, Steven. It's Russian deuce and a half. So it's all the best parts about a deuce and a half truck being bulletproof, and then you have a modifier on it because Russia's are automatically a +3 to durability. I mean, that thing, you could probably hit it with like a nuke and it would just be like, he's kind of hot. Keep going. There it goes through the service tower. Yeah, it goes through the service tower. They put it vertical and then they roll the service tower to it. Brand new Soyuz pad, man. Less than 5 years old. Slightly used. -3 to modernization. Yeah, of course, John. Hey, if it ain't, I mean, John, you have to at least admit that if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I agree with that. I want my old truck. You know why? Because it's simple. I like simple things. Simple things are easier for my stupid caveman brain to understand. I like if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Keep using it. Use it until the thing actually frigging breaks. I appreciate that a lot. Yeah, I like that. Especially when it comes to rockets. I mean, guys, you're looking at one of the cheapest ways to get into space right there. If you can't modernize, don't modernize, Fivehead. Okay, Forlorn, I won't. Oh, Forlorn, I did, and now I really wish I didn't. Cheaper than SpaceX? Yeah, Banya. Of course. Of course it's cheaper than SpaceX. It's expendable. Soyuz is, once again, it's a rocket that's derived from a missile from the 60s. Or, well, not even from the 60s, from the 50s, if you really want to know. This thing, and what was cutting edge in the 50s, is not cutting edge by today's standards. All the Russians have done is taken this design and just make small upgrades over time. Just quick couple upgrades here, a couple modernizations there. But the mechanics of the rocket is not that different. It's very simple. It's a very simple rocket. It does not cost a lot to make one of these things. It really doesn't. I mean, Soyuz launches, I'll bet you, I mean, Roscosmos isn't going to say this, but I'll bet you they cost 20 million, 30 million on a good day. Like 30 million, well, no, 30 million on a bad day. This thing does not cost a lot of money. Yeah, Soyuzes are insanely inexpensive because there's a lot of them and they're very simple. Your dad might be getting a 96 F-150 6-cylinder with a 5-speed. Eddie Bauer. Oh, nice grab. Well, I'll be dipped. Yeah, 18 million for production. Yeah, 30. It's cheaper than Falcon 9, but Falcon 9 reusing the first stage is 40 million. Yeah, that's how simple Soyuz is. It's really not complicated. It is about as straightforward as you can get. It's one of the cheapest ways to get into space that we have by a long shot. And because they've flown it so much, it's super freaking safe. Like, Soyuz has a lot of mileage on it. So because you've flown it a lot, you understand the vehicle and you know what it can and can't do. That makes it safer. There's the service tower. Cool. That's cool. Also, Tren. Yet people will hate it because it's not reusable. Yeah, I know, Bandit. You know what? I don't see people hating on Soyuz as much as you might think. I really don't. 90 million to buy the seat, 30 million for the launch. Well, Aeronord, the Russians aren't going to launch at cost. It's a business. You got to make money somehow. Yeah, EVX, I know. Interesting, right? And then when we launch people into space, those worlds just become the same thing. Yeah, right? Yeah, interesting. Interesting. Yeah, the medical and aerospace industry aren't that far off. Yep. Why'd you hate an old-timer like Soyuz? Yeah, I don't hate Soyuz. Soyuz is a great rocket. It's old, but it's good. They also train in Star City, plus many other things that also add up. Yeah, I mean, launching people into space is it's not inexpensive, but Soyuz is the most inexpensive way, I'd say. Soyuz looks very uncomfortable to be in. I said it's the cheapest way to get into space, K3. I said nothing about the ride quality. It's like the Spirit Air. It's the Spirit Air of rockets. It's low. Yeah, it doesn't cost much, but you can't. Like, if I had a joke the other day that I said, like, nobody gets onto Spirit. You shouldn't get onto like a Spirit Air flight and be like, "Excuse me, when's the in-flight meal?" The flight attendants will probably laugh at you. In-flight meal? You paid $50 for this ticket. Yeah. Where's my in-flight meal? There's no in-flight meals. Sit down and shut up. We'll get you there. We'll get you to your destination. In-flight. You paid $50. What do you want? What did you expect? This ain't a first-class trip. Shut up. Sit down, shut up, buckle up, and don't talk to me for 3 hours. Is Spirit Air the equivalent of Ryanair? Pretty much, Adam. It's no frills flying, right? Like, you don't go on a Ryanair or a Spirit Air flight and expect like an in-flight meal, right? There's no first class, there's no coach. It's a bus with wings, okay?
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Yes, Velo, of course. This conversation, yeah, $5. Wasted my time. You know, so, hey, it's not comfortable, but it'll get you there. Do you know when the power boom's going to start lifting? Yeah, well, it was put up yesterday, Geeson. I don't know when the lift is. I have the videos on it, though. We'll check it. Pretty cool. TEM, that's a TEM2 locomotive. The TEM2 is derived from an Alco RSD, which is pretty cool. It's derived from the RSD, which is a great locomotive. Hell yeah, Alco RSD. Yes. Yes. Wasn't the shuttle pretty violent until the SRBs went out? Yeah, Vin, it was. But, I mean, yeah. It was, but, that's only for 2 minutes. Soyuz is so safe when it explodes on your stream, the crew lived. Yeah. Yep. They need to do test lifts first, Scully? Yeah, that makes sense. You don't need much comfort for a 2-orbit flight. Yeah, PY, I was gonna say. Alright. Let's go over here. Alright. We have... There's 4 NSF videos. I'll be honest. Let's get through these quick. We gotta get back to work. Did you happen to see the shenanigans that happened during the Indy 500 qualifying? No. Alright. There's the KUKA robotic arm that's welding the barrel segments right there. This is something. Look at that thing. So NASA Spaceflight got a picture of Super Heavy's they got a picture of Super Heavy's methane manifolds or liquid oxygen propellant distribution manifold. Look at that. That's one hell of a manifold. Speaking of qualifying, I guess Ferrari found a way to get on pole. I'll take what I can get, Geek. Yeah, right? That's LOX, since LOX is on top for Super Heavy. There's the 11,000. They put the boom up yesterday on both of the cranes. How many pipes do you need? Yes. Bandit, what's Mike Sheets tweeting right there? It was flawless. Cool, cool. Yeah, I already did a whole thing on Virgin on the flight. Great flight. It keeps going and going and going and going. Nothing outlasts the Energizer. Oh, there's the end. Okay. I saw that Hamilton isn't happy with Mercedes. Oh, boo-hoo. Oh, I'm so upset. How much to climb to the top? I'll do it when the crane is on its side like that. Not when it's directed. No, I don't need to go up there. I wouldn't do that. That is Ogromny Chunguska. Huge Chungus. 2 times speed? Actually, that's not a bad idea. There's... Look at the hook. Look at how big the frigging hook for that damn crane is. It's the size of a rocket engine. Look at the dude standing next to you. You gotta be kidding me. That's a big hook. Wow. Need Raptor for scale. Yeah. If you had 2 of those cranes, would that be an erector set? Yeah. Here's a shot of some dirt. White cones. Oh. Those things, we saw them delivered the other day. They're road stops. I gotcha. They're road stops with a caster wheel. Bet they're sun bleached? Yeah, maybe. Cost of renting those cranes must be insane. Well, Geek, you know if you rent it for longer, the price per hour probably goes down, right? So SpaceX probably said, yeah, that crane, I'm going to do everything short of buying it from you. And the contractor probably said, Ferd! No, the contractor probably said, that's a deal. That's a deal. Sure. Did you see it? It was almost like clockwork. It was almost like clockwork. Hey guys, what's up? How you doing? Hey, look at this truck. It's a nice truck. Yeah. Let's go up here. So that's at the top of the high bay. Bird, 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 junk, bird, junk, 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 junk. I see you're getting fancy with the chairs. What's his name? Wait, what? Chairs? This is an IKEA Marcus. This is Marcus. Marcus is a great chair. I've had this chair forever, Adam. They're all junk. No you. Got him. How long until we see an F-150 Lightning hauling around Starbase? Wouldn't that be funny, Green? Actually, dude, Jim Gavin, the CEO of Ford, said they had 40, what is it, over 40,000 pre-orders for the Lightning. SpaceX has gotten so many people interested in cranes. Zythera, I think that's mostly me. But also, yeah. Yeah, 40. Ah, ha, ha. The one we have costs $350K just to bring it in and build it. Yep, yep. Might get some streams in the future. What is this? They also tested a live stream of their cameras on this flight. Cool, cool. Oh, guys, just grading out some dirt. So this is the tank farm next to the pad. You could see that's the tower, and the orbital pad is behind this concrete slab here. I wonder what these taller concrete slabs are for. There's enough concrete mounts to mount 6 of these things. I like cranes before SpaceX made it cool to like cranes. Yeah. Cybertruck had 350,000 pre-orders. Yeah, after what amount of time, though? Your contribution... Oh, the hypersonic plane. That's cool. Kind of running out of time, lulz, but I do like that. That's cool. I'm gonna read that article later. Yes, all right. Yeah, they took engines off of 15, guys. That's a big crane. Yeah, that's a big crane. Yeah, those are big cranes. Okay, that's video 1 down. Let's get to the next one. Video number 2. So in this one they hadn't lifted the power boom. Tell me why it must be a power boom. Do 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 do. Anyway. Oh, that's disgusting. Forge. Yep. Nope. Okay. Nice. It was the Vice City theme song. EJ, you been on the beers? Yeah. No. It was a poor, I guess, attempt to try and make people smile. Screw me for trying to make your day better. I'll just sit here and stare at it. This is nice. Okay, working on another section here. Yeah, God. Okay, they have the hoists attached to this piece here. I think that's the one that they moved. Oh, there's a cry. Holy shnikes. Oh, wind. Okay. They're gonna make the propellant down the street, goalie. I don't know how they're gonna get it there. They might just have a plumbing line from this straight to the pad. I don't know. Knowing SpaceX, they might do that. But who knows? I have no idea, Bella. Damn, she thick. Yeah, Van. The GSE tanks are made on the same production line as Starship. The ground service equipment is the same thing, dude. Yeah. What, are you going to worry about it rusting? It's stainless steel. Ain't going to rust. You don't have to worry about that. And then you could paint it, too, like they did. Yeah. Those things that you saw the crane lifting were a cryo shell. So they have the regular Starship tanks inside of that, from what I can tell. And then that cryo shell goes over it. And it's basically a big thermos. Yeah, they're gonna evac it out, and they're gonna have a vacuum seal between the tank and the outside. Vacuum seal works exactly like it's a big thermos. That's what it is. It's a vacuum sealed thermos, like a Yeti or something. But yeah, the tanks are all made on the same line. The fuel tanks that are down at the pad, those things, they're just Starships. Those are Starship rings. Why not? Save some money and you keep your assembly line going if you build the GSE on the same line as the Starships. Well, it's the same barrel segments. The fuel tanks for the rocket are the fuel tanks for the pad are the fuel tanks for the rocket. It's the same thing. Yeah, I mean, Van, they can afford to. You can't do that with every rocket. Like if they did it with Falcon 9, Falcon 9's tanks are aluminum. They'll corrode over time, right? But stainless steel, no. Stainless steel, you don't have to worry about that. Especially if you painted it. Now, those tanks won't be holding propellant for a crazy long period of time, but the thermos tanks that are down at the refining site, yeah, they will. So they painted those, and they're vacuum sealed too. Yeah, SN21's common dome turn into the GSE upper dome, for example. Yeah, it's the fuel tanks. I mean, it's exactly what I do with the launch pads in KSP. Ooh. Well, at least it's not gonna rust. I mean, that stuff has been sitting in salt water for weeks now. I wonder if GSE compatibility was part of the reason as well for the switch to stainless a while back. It's possible, Just Space. Yeah. I mean, that sounds like more of a net benefit idea, dude, because you'd focus on building the vehicle first and then all the GSE later. Like, if they'd chosen carbon, like just base, if they, you know, if they kind of had their mind made up on carbon fiber, and then they said, nah, never mind, use stainless instead, right? And I guarantee you the tanks wouldn't have been carbon fiber, right? Like, I think they switched to stainless steel and then figured out that that was a, like, oh, we could just do that. You know, I'm not sure, like, I don't know, dude, they may have taken into account, but whoever took that into, if that's the case, if what you said is how that went down, man, somebody has some crazy design foresight there. That's almost like I can see the future stuff, dude. They can't recover the parts. They're out in a swamp. Anything heavy you send out there to try and move that is anything heavy you try and send out there to move that thing is going to sink into the sand. That's why they haven't picked it up. Don't worry, they will. They ain't gonna leave it there. Adam, nice. I saw a tweet about how SpaceX not cleaning up SN11 and how it's damaging the wildlife. I mean, yeah, but how much is it damaging the wildlife, Geeson? Really? Like, ooh, that's messing with the artifacting. Oh no, that thing is actually just... That's weird. Okay. Messing with the encoder? I mean, Geeson, like, long story short, you should clean it up. Yeah, of course, putting something there that wasn't supposed to be there naturally or didn't occur naturally is going to mess up the environment. But it's stainless steel. It's not going to rust. I mean, long story short, they should clean it up. But I'm telling you, they can't. They can't get at it right now. You'd need a boat. And the water's too shallow. Well, the water's too shallow for a boat. Just tow it outside of the environment. Yeah, it's hard to get at, man. It's out in a swamp. I agree, Jim. I'm with you on that one. Of course it's damaging the environment. Us being there is damaging the environment. Like, having an entire spaceport sitting there is going to probably cause more damage than some bits lying around out in the water. You know, that's where we draw the line. Like, okay. Kind of a weird, arbitrary point. But then again, I'm pretty sure that, to the environmental people's credit, I'm pretty dang sure that they are not happy about a spaceport being in the Rio Grande estuary, but who knows? Yeah, John, there you go. Yeah, forever. Look at all these pipes. Captain Planet is mad. Yeah, Forlorn, Captain Planet's mad, and then he flies there in a jet that emits carbon. Hypocrite. Destroyed. I wish EJ didn't let it go over his head. Well, I didn't let it go over my head. Because if I let it go over my head, the front would have fallen off. Yeah, because the front fell off. I know the reference, I just missed what you said. It flies on hydrogen and oxygen, only creating water. Alright, fine, Forlorn. You want to play this game? You want to play this game? What carbon and petroleum-based system did we use to make that propellant? You want to play this game? You want to play this game? Really? You're just shifting the problem upstream. Captain Planet is a hypocrite. A hypocrite flying on his damn jet. Not all of us can afford that luxury, Captain Planet. You piece of crap hypocrite man. I broke my back. Spinal. Alright, let's see what we got. Captain Planet is a communist? Communist, hypocrite, Yeah, that makes sense, Louisa. You're welcome. That probably pissed somebody off somewhere. Oh well. Captain Planet is commie propaganda intended to harm the U.S. economically? Let's get back into the video. Let's get back into the video, please. let's watch the video, guys. Oh my goodness. Stop ruining my childhood. I mean, then again, I didn't help either. Stop it. Stop doing that. Stop doing that. You have been banned from our Beijing. Oh well, nothing of value was lost. You started it. Yeah, but you finished it. Captain Planet Green is an environmental fascist. Oh gosh, I kept doing it. I'm sorry. I'm kidding. It's a joke. Please don't kill me. Look at these cranes. Oh no! It's just, have you seen a prank, please? It's only prank. Why you have to be mad? Okay, alright, serious note. This crane right here, the 11,000, so that's a 16-2 over here, and this is a Liebherr 11,000. This thing right here, the configuration that they have this crane in is, you got a really long arm and you have no derrick. See how the white crane has the derrick behind it? You can't really see it, but see how the pulley is going to like a second metal lattice that goes up? The derrick is used if you're moving something heavy, all right? Like this crane is designed to move that thing, or it's in a configuration to move that thing, which is heavy, right? So they have the derrick to be able to hang a counterweight from, so they can lift a heavier component. This thing, the crane in this configuration, there's no derrick and there's no counterweight. Although this guy is only running counterweight on the saddles on the crane. So if you look at the white crane, you see these two pieces back here. They go all the way back to the wagon, and the wagon holds additional counterweight. It's hanging off the back of the crane so they can keep it balanced when they go to lift something heavy. This one doesn't have it, and this one has no derrick, so it's the mast that's attached via pendants right to the main boom, right? And then it's got a jib mast up top. So no, I'm not speaking gibberish. No, this crane is in a configuration to not lift something heavy, but lift something lighter a long distance up to a higher elevation. So it's not designed to lift something big. It's not designed to lift something heavy. It's designed to lift something light, but get something light up like 300 feet that way. So is SN15 going up a second time? I'm not sure, Master, and the reason why I'm not sure is because they took engines off of it. They took 2 of the engines off. So the derrick is to move things over a distance. Not necessarily. The jib mast is, it depends on if you want to move stuff up, Jaka, or if you want to move stuff this way. If you want to go this way, you'd need a different configuration. The jib mast would be lower. It would be over here. Like the crane, like actually that crane right there. See that one in the background that was lifting the cryo shells? The boom is short and the jib is longer. That'll give you more reach. I think that's called luffing. It'll give you more reach out. Because the jib is so small on this, it's not really designed. It's designed for lifting stuff up, light stuff up. Next spaceflight report. Reporting orbit for Boca is net August, so no, SN15 won't go up again. Yeah, Mike's pretty good with that stuff. And Thomas, that kind of feeds into what I was thinking with Starship. After SN15 landed, whatever SpaceX was doing, they said stop and focus solely on building the orbital pad. The orbital pad, I've noticed, is just gone into overdrive in terms of construction, and then SN15, they put it on the test stand and then took the engines off. There's no urgency. 16 is just kind of chilling inside of the high bay, just doing. And the pieces for 17 are just sitting outside doing nothing. So guys, you know, Mike Baylor over at Next Spaceflight, and Mike does a lot of work with NASA Spaceflight as well, and he's one of the better space reporters out there. To be honest, Mike, if you're here, hi, love your work. He's usually pretty right with this stuff. It's very rare that he would report something that he wouldn't know for sure. You know what I mean? And now, don't get me wrong, I don't know where he's getting that source, but Mike has been right more times than not when it comes to this stuff, so I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. So, yes, but Derek lets you transfer. The Derek lets you transfer mass at a greater angle. Not having a Derek reduces the reach of the crane more than the jib. Yeah. That too, Jockey. Yeah, you're right. I mean, yeah, that's also a thing. And then you see the end of the power boom over there with the red and white stripes. I mean, these guys, I just sit back and just look at this picture with your peripherals for a second. Like, don't particularly focus on anything, and then like just kind of, if you have to, cast your eyes over here, look at the cement mixer and the truck and the excavator comparatively to that damn crane. Like, that crane's friggin' huge, and he has, let's see, we counted it the other day, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So that, and then he has additional counterweights on the back saddles, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 18 counterweights on 2 saddles on either side, so he's running 360 tons. 360 metric tons of counterweight. Yeah. It's always about flight envelope expansion. Look at aircraft testing. They go from engine testing to low-speed taxi to high-speed taxi to low-speed flight and then higher altitudes and cruising. Same with Starship. We've done the taxi test. Now fly it. Rocket Guy, I'm with you. And that's why I'm having trouble kind of understanding where SpaceX is going with this. And once again, you're absolutely right. We have to, and I have to constantly remind myself, dude, that Starship is not a rocket. It is not a rocket. It has rocket engines, but it ain't a rocket. It's an airplane. They're trying to use it like an airplane for all those Earth flights, amongst other things, right? The engineering is centered around more of an aviation, like an aviation flight testing regime. You're absolutely right. Is that crane like 150 meters? It's definitely up there, Bozzard. I don't think it's 150 meters. I think it's, well, if we go back and look at the picture of the 2 cranes, this one right here, that one right there is about, well, it can lift Starship up onto the pad here, and we know Starship is 50 meters tall, give or take. So I'm going to guess that this one is 50 to 70, somewhere in there. So, actually, yeah. Actually, yes. That crane is somewhere above 100 meters. So 100 meters is 330 feet. So this crane is taller than a 33-story building. Actually, that's about the size of a Saturn V. Oddly enough. Why do we just use jet engines versus rocket engines on planes? Jet engines are way more efficient, John. They don't provide as much thrust, but they're think of a jet engine like a slow burn, like a barbecue, John, like a barbecue pit. That's a jet engine. A rocket engine is flash frying things. A lot more energy gets released a lot faster. Yeah, you don't need cryofuels for a jet engine. I mean, to be fair, you don't need them for a rocket either, Buck, but it's all about how much energy the thing can put out, basically. They probably moved into a building phase, get most of the major work done, and then move back into test flights. Yeah, that sounds right. I'm pretty sure Elon said focus after the 15 flight. Focus solely on getting the orbital pad ready. Do you have a photographic memory? Eileen, I wouldn't say I have a photographic memory. I wouldn't say I have like an eidetic memory or anything either. I don't learn by words or pictures. How I can recall stuff is, well, long story short, I'm an idiot. Yeah, dude, I'm thick. I got a thick freaking skull. Not thick down here, thick up here. Like, the only way I can understand things and the only way I get it to sit in my head and remember it is beating it into my head repeatedly over a long period of time. That's how I can recall stuff so easily. Repetition. Repetition, that's why I go over the same stuff almost every space news. We talk about rocket engines, talk about this, talk about that. Eileen, how I tell people about this is that when I was in school, all I did was go home and play video games and then play sports, and that's it. Because sports are just a real life video game. It's very fun. I didn't really do well in school, to be honest with you. I was too busy playing Counter-Strike or playing Star Wars Galaxies or World of Warcraft or something. Not for very long with that last one, but I digress. The way I like to tell people is that I never learned how to learn right. So, I chose the military option. Not that I joined the military, no, but the military way of learning, which is beat it into your head repeatedly until you understand it. Not the most efficient way to learn things, but it does work. Yeah, Eileen, it's not because, it's not for any particular reason other than I read something and then I go and reread it again. And then I reread it again. And then a day later I go and reread it again. You'd be surprised how much that messes with you. Go and read a chapter in a book, right? And then wait a couple of days, read it again, and it's like you're reading a different book almost. It's the most bizarre thing. I do that with a lot of spaceflight articles. A lot of spaceflight stuff. I have to read things 2 or 3 times because, once again, I never learned how to learn correctly. I don't know how to do that. I never turned in homework. I never did any of that. I did the bare minimum. Anything that I could do to get away from school to go and play video games. Which is why I tell kids when they're in here, Eileen, to go and fucking do your work. Not everybody can sit here and become a damn Twitch streamer all day. Yeah, alleviate, right? Yeah, Vanguard, I have to beat it into my thick skull because I'm stubborn and I'm an idiot. Like, that's the honest reason. Like, well, you seem intelligent to me, whatever that counts for. Well, Eileen, I had to learn the hard way. Like, Eileen, I have a couple of bad things going for me. And ethnically, I'm a stubborn frigging Italian. Italians are stubborn. Ask anybody here that's watching from Italy or of Italian descent. We're stubborn. I don't know why. We're just stubborn pieces of crap. We have a very no, screw you kind of attitude towards things. And I don't know if that's just nature versus nurture, if it's hereditary, or I don't know. I have no idea. But also, on top of that, I'm from the Northeast, where people aren't known for being the friendliest. So I have stubborn New Englandness and then stubborn Italianness compounded on top of that. I'm just like, you're stubborn. No, I'm not, Adam. Shut up. Hey, I'm not stubborn, you jerk. So, yeah, Eileen, like I said, the way I tell people is I never learned how to learn right. So what do? I choose the military option. I beat things into my head until I understand it. Repetition is key. And you'd be surprised. I've been doing that for like 10 years. Easily 10 years. And stubborn and an idiot. So, Marine, I don't look good with this haircut for no reason, Jackery. Denglozo, I'm listening. Do you remember we are the country of Leonardo? That's right. See. Show me your learn face. Is that good? So, yeah, Eileen, over time, that way of learning, because I don't know any other way of doing it. Stupid stubborn brain, like, yeah, you develop, like, you kind of learn to just remember things because, yeah, It takes a good deal of self-discipline, though, to go back and, like, read a book. Once your mind is made up that you've done enough work, like if you're reading a chapter in a book, you don't want to go read it again, right? But I'm telling you, you go and read a technical paper about something, and even though you could say you read every word on that technical paper, if you go and read it again a week later, you'll discover something that you glossed over previously. So like every time I read something, it's fragmented. You ever read in a book and then kind of zone out and you're still reading, but you read like 4 or 5 pages and you're like, what the hell? Wait, what's going on? You gotta flip back. Yeah, that's why I read things 2 to 3 times, all the time, because I won't get it. It's really impressive. Honestly, the way you talk about rockets, trains, and cars, you'd think you were at very least trained at me. Oh, well, thank you, Eileen. I appreciate that. That means that it's working, I guess. I thank you. That helps. But yeah, But, you know, like, it's not just... And see, like, here's the other thing. The other thing, Eileen, is that this is something that I love. I don't know why I like space flight so much. Like, if you did this with anything else, I'd probably be like, all right, I guess I can learn this. You know, like, you gotta have the motivation. You gotta love it. Like, who motivates themselves to reread, like, 2 to 3 technical papers a week? Like, I mean, sometimes I don't even do that. Like, that the willpower because the willpower that I have towards doing this and all that repetition and all that learning, it takes time. It takes lots of time. I lose sleep over it because I'm reading papers about NASA or reading something about space every day for like 2 hours after every stream. I lose a ton of sleep over this stuff, or cars or whatever. Yeah, you know, it's a labor of love, I guess, and I couldn't tell you why I like it so much. I have no idea. I don't know. Yeah, ADHD reading. Well, Jackery, once again, I don't think I have that. I just was really, really, really more interested in playing video games. I think you have ADHD. There's an SSTO waiting for you. Chat, here, let's talk about Starship. Here, let's talk about One Hop. Here, let's talk about this. Also, chat, hey, EJ, I think you have ADD because you haven't worked on this for the past hour. Guys, I'm playing off you. I always do that. It's much easier. It's much easier to kind of go with the flow with chat. It makes for a more fun stream. Kind of go with the flow with things. I mean, Adam, I'm not going to say that I don't want to see that. I play off you guys. Guys, why do you think I have mission mode rules, Duber? Why do you think I have mission mode rules? Because it's literally a way for chat to tell me what they want me to do and what they want to see from the stream without actually asking what you want to see from the stream. And you also learn something. Blue, I don't know. I'm just gonna chalk it up to me not learning how to learn correctly. I never learned how to do that right. You know, I never learned how to do that correctly because I was busy playing video games. I learned how to play video games like a friggin' champ, though. Yeah. I mean, you saw me when I jumped in Tarkov on April Fool's Day. Remember that? I won a round on my 3rd or 4th try. I'm good at shooting games. I'm really good at shooting games.
Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has
Really
landed.
appreciate the stream and the cool stuff. I learn when I'm here. You're really, really genuine guy. Keep doing it. I'm trying. Ellie. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Remember that game called PUBG? PUBG's not a comp shooter. I'm good at Counter-Strike. I'm really good at Counter. I'll show you guys one of these days. But I said I wouldn't play Counter-Strike on stream because I get too mad at it. One v one me? You'll lose if I have an op. Yeah, you'll lose. Bro, you do not know how many hours I have in Counter-Strike. That's not a good idea. And you could say, oh, EJ, you're out of practice. Give me a couple hours. Give me like 1 to 2 hours. I can quick scope so fast you can't even see it. And no, I'm not trying to flex. I don't care. It's a video game. It means nothing. I'd much rather build SSTOs. It's a much better application of brain power. Interesting, Hellfish. Have you tried just not being bad at CS? If you tried that, maybe you wouldn't get mad.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Hey, Tedster. 5 subs. Gifted 5 subs. Thanks, man. What's going on? How are you? Rocket Guy, you know what? Okay, alright. You know what the thing is, dude? I don't get mad at Counter-Strike. I don't get mad at Counter-Strike if I'm sitting here playing it alone with the stream off. I don't get mad at it. I just, alright, we gotta kill that guy. Hey, we lost because they were doing this. It's like, when you stream, your mind is distracted. Even if you're focusing on the game, in the back of your mind, you still know that chat's there. You still know that the camera's on. You still know people are watching you. I'm telling you, man, it's harder to play a game on stream knowing in the back of your mind that people are watching you than it is to just play it by yourself. So, like, because I have that distraction in my head when I play Counter-Strike on stream, I'm not giving the game my full focus, and you'll get killed. I won't be able to flick fast enough, or I'll miss a shot, or I'll check chat and I won't be able to see a guy peeking out or something. I don't know how the shooter streamers do it. And I think they do it just by ignoring chat. But once again, that's not my MO, so that's really difficult to do. Yeah, and yeah, when you got people watching you, it's different. It's totally different. It's like when you practice, like playing a sport versus when you actually go and play and people are there watching you, you're not going to do as well. It's weird, man. I might be in the area July, August. I'll hit you up just to say, hey, right on, man. Yeah, cool. Yeah, exactly, Duber. Yeah, no, playing shooting games on stream is difficult. The shooter streamers that play, like the big ones, like Summit, like Ann, like who else? Who else is a shooter streamer? Like Tapman and all those. Yeah, I don't know how they do it. I seriously don't know how they do it. Shroud, yeah, those guys are crazy. I don't know how they do it. I don't know how they can block that out. I haven't figured that one out. That's why I get mad. Like, it's weird, dude. I only get mad at Counter-Strike if I'm streaming it. They all rage? Really? Oh. Really? Huh. Interesting. Man, Geek, it's hard to block out. Racing too. It's hard to block out when you're racing. Like, I make a lot of mistakes when I'm driving because, like, for a split second I look over at chat, and that split second is the split second I miss the braking point for a turn, you know? Yeah, that stuff happens, dude. Yeah, it's very difficult. Like, and then consider that when you consider that I played Tarkov and I won a round on the 4th try, killing like 4 or 5 people. Stuff's difficult, man. It's really difficult. For whatever reason, though, Kerbal doesn't happen so much in Kerbal. I mean, sometimes I fat finger things in Kerbal, you know, but yeah, it's not as bad in KSP because you can kind of take your time. Either way. Last, okay. Oh yeah, the aerial photos. Cool. Oh, Adam, let me see. Yeah, Adam, I don't hate what you're showing me right now. I mean, this is good, but I like what you're showing me better. Oh, what a magnificent machine, dude. That's beautiful. Beautiful. You could show it. There's nothing weird about it. All right. Give me 1 second. Dem Fowler flaps, though. Jeez, man. Crazy piece of mechanical engineering right there. Slats. Look at the bypass. The bypass is blowing in the wind. Oh, nice, Fushio. There you go. A worm gear? Really? For the Fowler flaps? I guess that makes sense. A worm gear. Huh. I never knew that. Friggin' worm gear. It's simpler, friggin' simpler than a friggin' simpler than an actuator, I suppose. Oh, dude, look at how big that damn flap is. It's called Kruger flaps, not slats, and the engineering behind it is amazing. Yeah, they're basically taking the wing from an airfoil shape like this to a shape like that. As long as you can keep the thrust going, your wings will generate more lift, but they'll also generate more drag, so the plane can have a slower touchdown speed, right? It's freaking crazy, dude. Imagine the pressure that gets built up on this thing, Adam. It's probably insane. So, like, what the wing does is when you deploy the flaps, it generates way higher pressure underneath the wings and way lower pressure on the top of the wings. Generates way more lift. But drag is a byproduct of lift, guys, so you're going to create more drag. So the plane is going to need more thrust, like 4 big frigging engines, right? To get it to fly correctly. The gear, I would guess, it's for the backup electrical flap in case the hydraulics fail, but I'm not sure. Cool. Cool. Yeah, look, it's a Dash 400 that's been converted for cargo. See the windows up there? They're all blanked out. Oh, it's pretty. Dude, Adam, who friggin' thought of this? That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. It's crazy. This is, Adam got us this, Swishio. Adam, works with planes. Let's just leave it at that. Yeah, I guess, Cletus, yeah. All right, let's go back over here. The article I linked said something about finding a way to stabilize detonation for hypersonic propulsion. Yeah, UCF is, I believe, Lulz is working on that rotating detonator engine. If they can get a rotating detonator, if they can get a detonation engine going instead of a combustion engine, ooh, yeah, detonation would be really nice. Because with detonation, you don't really need a convergent divergent nozzle design, because detonation, the difference between combustion and detonation is the speed of the gas, the speed at which the gases expand at, right? So with combustion, the gases explode, but they explode at subsonic speeds. With detonation, the gases expand faster than the speed of sound. That's the difference. With a detonating rocket engine or a detonating jet engine, you could make some pretty insane stuff. Yeah, Kruger flaps are different than slats. They fold out from the bottom, leaving the top of the airfoil and leading edge unchanged. Slats are basically the leading edge extending out, which changes the airfoil's top structure and leading edge. Got it. Yeah, cool. A detonation car engine when? Well, Sawyer, car engines can detonate. They can detonate things. Oh yeah, you can get detonation from having crappy ignition timing, but you know what that does to a car engine. The thing about detonation is that it causes, I mean, amongst other things, detonation causes rod knock. Basically, the explosion is going too fast. It fizzes out. The explosion blows up. It blows up too fast for the piston to get forced all the way down. So the it's kind of like the motor's having a stroke. Yeah, it's not good. Detonation's not good, and it generates a ton of heat. That's the other thing you gotta worry about. But Sawyer, if someone was able to figure out a detonating engine, yeah, you could make crazy power with one of those things. But yeah, oh, okay, Adam, they fold out from the bottom. I see it. Cool. Yeah, pulse jets use detonation. Yeah. Those jet Chryslers, yep. Yeah. Yeah, car engines can have detonation in them, that's right, Sugar, but it's only for like 1 or 2 seconds, and then the motor will explode, because it's not designed for that. Leading edge flaps, that's cool, 12 Bravo. What if it's an electric car? If something detonates on an electric car, I'm pretty sure you have other problems than the engine braking. Here's a good schematic as well for explaining the difference. Yeah, I see it. So the slat rocket guy kind of translates forward, and the Kruger flap kind of folds out. Interesting. Yeah. I see. Yeah, I gotcha. Huh. Now, Kyra, no, I'm good. And let's get through this video, and then let's get back to building that launch pad. Whoa. Speaking of building launch pads. One way to harness detonation in the engine is to use an opposed piston engine. Yeah? Yeah, Jock, that's not a bad idea. Why is the bottom section all rusty, but not the others? I wonder on that tower section. Rusty? Oh, that's a jig. They built this thing on a jig. So this darker piece right there isn't rust. It's painted a dark color, right? And then they build the section on it, right? This piece right here is emulating this right there. It's just an alignment jig to build it on. So when they put the 4 posts in place, the 4 posts are square, right? And then they put the thing together, and then when this piece is ready to be lifted, they're gonna unbolt the horizontal truss segments here, or the 45-degree truss segments. They'll unbolt it, and then they'll pick this thing up, and then they'll bolt them to those gussets right there. Yeah, it's just a jig to build it on. Yeah, it's just a jig. That's all, Saichi. Yeah, that's so they could work on different parts of the launch pad in parallel instead of building one of these things and then building the next thing on top and then building the next thing on top. You build 3 or 4 of these on the ground, which, because they're not as high up off the ground, they're easier to make. You build them in sub-assemblies and then bloop, bloop, bloop. And that's what the big crane is for. That's what the big freaking crane is for. But, and also, Saichi, this thing is rusty. It's rusty as hell. It doesn't look like they painted it. That just looks like steel. So what you're seeing here is not it is rust, but that is intentional. When you have polished steel, well, not polished steel, when you have bare metal like that, steel will form an oxidization layer on it, and that it'll rust. But the rust will cover up the steel, and it protects it, believe it or not. The rust protects the steel from rusting even more. It's got patina on it. Yeah, exactly. Really? That's crazy, Ordon. Yeah, I thought it would be an actuator. No, the jack screws. That's smart. Pyro, 11-month resub. Thank you. That just looks weird. Does that look weird to anybody else? Like, it's funny when Starship is coming down, you know, this, you'd be like, okay, they're transporting a spaceship. This just looks like a building that's moving. I mean, that's basically what it is, but last time I checked, buildings are not supposed to roll across the surface like this. I mean, unless there's something I don't know about. Everything on this channel looks weird. Yeah, even the chat doesn't feel you're right. Someone's using the part offset tool in the VAB. Yeah, right? That's right, Zoom. I'm sorry, that just looks funny to me. It looks like a Benny Hill video. Can you see the... I see some wheels in this one. Yeah, granted, exactly. I don't know what they're going to do with this crane. I think this is for installing all the other components, and then the power boom crane is for moving this. This sucker right here, the big 11350, excuse me. The 11350 right here is the one that they're going to use to build this sucker. If the mobile launcher platform can move, everything can. Yeah, right. Yeah, I guess, Core. I like to imagine that moving with the help of little millipede feet. Nice. Yeah, see, they let this steel oxidize, and then there's oxidized. There's parts that are extra oxidized because they ground off the original layer. The reason why they ground that off right there is to weld. You got to polish and you got to make sure when you weld that there's no rust. Oxidization is the enemy for welds, because when you weld, if you don't clean everything off, like the metal, you don't scrape it to polished metal, and then weld. When you can, the rust can get trapped inside of the weld, and the weld will rot from the inside out. So see how there's like highlighted areas right here and right here? That's where some guy went at this thing with a flap wheel, right, to weld this gusset on. And yeah, there's probably a lot of weld in there to hold. To weld this kind of steel. You ain't gonna pen that kind of steel with any type of welder, at least to my knowledge. Maybe a big industrial stick welder, but even then, you're just laying in welds. Oh yeah, Goalie? Yeah, I believe that. Yeah, if the reaction frame is as heavy, yeah, right. Yeah, that's a big subassembly. That's cool, Figgity. Nice. Yeah, see? They bolted all this stuff together. Yeah, Jack, I might, yeah, right? They have been doing some sim lifts, I guess, with the power boom, moving from where the segment... Yeah, okay, so they're testing it. Time to go to bed? No, it's just the Space News yawns. I yawn at the beginning and the end of Space News. We're getting to the end of Space News, so now it's time to... jump back into KSP. Nothing, Goalie, no. Is this their compression test? I only ask. Only asking because all the inside frames are aligned to center down. I'm not sure, Tiny Tank. I don't know why I don't know why these are 45 down instead of 45 up. Every other service structure for every rocket I've ever seen has these things reversed. The corner is down here, and it goes up, and then this gusset is up here at the top. The 45s are going in the opposite direction. Instead of an M, it's a W. What are the black spots? Thermal tiles. Sugar. Yeah. Maybe to withstand the landing forces. Nuclear, that's the only thing I can guess. Like, if I look at something like this, and I know that every other, like, this is how I kind of, I mean, Eileen was asking me a little bit how I understand things and how I go about looking at things. I don't go about looking at things and say, why did they do this? Why did you do that? No. Engineering is about application. What are they trying to do is the right question to ask. What are you doing? Because, you know, a good example would be like if you want to move a lawnmower around. What's the correct vehicle for the application? A pickup truck. You wouldn't bring a frigging Prius to try and move a ride-on lawnmower around. You'd need a truck, right? So what's the application here? What's the application in the context of the engineering, right? Or you'd need a trailer. Yeah, Contra, yeah, right? But you don't... People don't think Prius when they think towing, right? But you could. You can. I mean, Prius, I'm pretty sure, has a tow hitch on it. You could. Either way. So, I know that every other fixed service structure that I know of, launch umbilical tower, mobile launcher, Saturn V, space shuttle fixed service structure, the crew access tower at Slick 6, the umbilical tower at Slick 37, the umbilical towers that were at Slick 37A and Slick 34, or LC 34, they all, every single one, I can't think of another one that does this. So, once again, not why did they do that, what are they trying to do? So what's the difference? This is a fixed service structure, right? Now, what do the other towers do? Well, the other towers have crew access on them, right? If depending on the rocket, there's a crew access tower. It's crew access tower. So, and then umbilicals, right? There's fuel lines that go up and down that thing, and a walkway, an elevator and a walkway for crew to get into whatever, right? To get into the launch vehicle or space shuttle or whatever, right? So, what will Starship have? Now, Starship won't have... I firmly believe that Starship will not have any umbilicals coming from the tower connecting to the rocket, with the exception of a crew access tower. So, having a crew access tower isn't going to warrant the joist. I think these are called joists or struts, I forget. Is not going to warrant having these in this. That's not enough of a design change. Why? Because the crew access arm is not heavy. It's not heavy. If you know, I mean, like, look at 39A. Look at how big that crew access arm is on the fixed service structure at 39A. You don't need a service structure like this that's this chunky, right? To hold that up. It wouldn't need to be nearly as thick as this thing is. The load-bearing, the vertical load-bearing beams here are friggin' huge. I mean, these aren't solid for what it's worth. It's boxed steel, but... having the beams angled like that is how they truss up a hydraulic press. That way it can handle the force of the press pushing down. So that tells me, Jaka, I was kind of working towards that. And that tells me that whatever is going to be at the top of this thing is going to be heavy. Or whatever this thing is going to do, because the joist, the braces? Because the braces are 45 down instead of 45 up, it's designed to take compression load. So it's going to be holding up something heavy. That's the only thing I can really derive from that. And now we know that SpaceX wants to try to catch super heavy with the tower. So, there's no way of proving that that's exactly what they want to do just by this. We just know that putting them this way will help with compression load. So that means there's going to be something heavy hanging from this thing or on top of this thing. If SpaceX wants to use their fixed service structure, right? If they want to use their fixed service structure as the integration building, they're going to need a big crane at the top of this thing that needs to pick up Starship and put it back on, top of Super Heavy, which will be caught by the same structure. So, once again, not why did they do it? What are they trying to do? It tells me that whatever SpaceX wants to do here, whatever design they want to do, catching the booster or landing the booster next to the pad and using a crane to pick it up and put it back on it, that fixed service structure is going to be holding up stuff that's heavy, no matter how they do it. So that's probably the reason why those are downward facing instead of upward facing. But once again, it's a guess. I have no concrete, even though it's steel, I have no concrete way of, like, getting from where we are to what we think it's going to do. There's no direct connect the dots that go to there. Hey, Shadow Mask, what's up, man? 44-month resub. Racing or chasing? I think we're racing tonight. Say a large marine crane. Yep. One could say it's designed to handle something super heavy. I am an enchanter. Some people call me Tim. It's Predominant's joke, not mine. Look, see? They took the engines off of this thing. Cythera, maybe. Maybe. Look at the size of the friggin' hooks on that damn crane. That's nuts, man. Heading on Predominant is now uncool. You can't just throw him under the bus like that. I didn't throw him under the bus. I was giving credit where credit is due. Most likely they're doing it for the crane that will go on it. Yeah, goalie, the Appleton crane that's sitting in Boca Chica Village. That's what's going on top of it. I can say that with reasonable probability of accuracy, I guess. Reasonable probability of they need a crane on top, and that marine crane is sitting in a shed down the road. It's not, you know, sometimes you gotta Occam's razor it, 2 and 2 together, right? Like, it's gonna have a big friggin' crane on the top of the service structure, so it needs to be able to handle that load. The other ones have the braces going up because all they need to do is sit there. They don't have any compression load on top of them. I mean, they have some from gravity, but not a lot comparatively. Jeez. Look at the staircase on this thing, man. That crane is like Jawa Sandcrawler big. Well, not Jawa Sandcrawler. As big as the trucks on the Sandcrawler. I don't get why they didn't go with an X-brace. I'm pretty sure that's just as strong as an X-brace, dude. Pretty sure. I mean, you could say the same. You could say the same for the crane. The crane is built in the same way. Okay. Imagine being the guy that drives this. What's your job? Yeah, I'm moving the Raptor engines down there at Brownsville. Yep, just moving the dang Raptor engines around. All you need to do is just take that Raptor engine, just drive it down the road, and just leave it there. I'll tell you what I'd do, man. I'd launch 2 starships at the same time, man. Yeah, dang straight, I always wanted to do that. And figure I could hook that up, because the guy that runs this company that I work for, you know, he has a lot of money. The kind of guy that would launch 2 starships would. Don't drop it yet. Don't drop that thing. Don't drop it. I don't think X-braces are redundant nuclear. A 45 degree thrust like that is fine. That's more than a no. Oh, mama. That thing is friggin' huge, dude. Okay, all right, look. Look at the guy standing back there on the crane. Look at the guy. There's a guy, one of the operators is standing back there by the saddles. Look at it, he looks tiny. See the little dude right there? Crazy. I can't believe it. I can't believe how big that sucker is. See, he's a beautiful Stroop, Bio, and so are you. Holy Nikes. Oh, I'd love to see this thing. See this thing in person, man. When hop bio, I don't think we're gonna get a hop anytime soon, dude. I think SpaceX is putting all their chips into the orbital basket, to be honest with you. Rocket Guy actually put it very succinctly, dude. These suborbital hops were with Starship were taxiing tests. Now you gotta fly it. Rocket Guy actually put it in a very, very smart way. You know, remember when we watched the 777 rollout? We watched the 777, what did they do? They taxied it down the runway a bunch of times, low speed then high speed, and then eventually you're gonna have to V1, rotate, up in the air. This is the up in the air test. I mean, once again, I didn't come up with that analogy. That's Rocket Guy. But yeah, I think he's absolutely right. I think there's only so much you can learn from doing these taxi tests. At least SpaceX thinks so. I think they're shooting for orbital, dude. That's why these cranes are here. When orbit? August. I'm hearing through the grapevine, so don't read too much into this. Take it with a grain of salt. I'm hearing through the grapevine that it's going to be in the late summer. Or the shuttle testing. Yeah, it's right there. Actually, that's a really good point. The shuttle testing is a very good point. Yep. Do you think only having one successful Starship landing and immediately moving to orbital and forgetting about the rest is a good idea? Geek, you want my honest opinion? No. Opinions are malleable, though. That can change. I don't think so. I think you've had way more landing failures than you've had success, right? But also at the same time, I don't think SpaceX really has a choice. Shoot for orbital, because you can't let's be real. With these cranes, dude, look at how big that freaking thing is. You ain't moving that on an SPMT. At least I don't think you are. You ain't moving that on an SPMT either. I don't think they can do... Well, actually, they have moved that on an SPMT, but it didn't have the power boom attached to it, right? I mean, you might be able to. Who knows? But, long story short, I think that it's one or the other. I don't think they can do test flights and work on the pad, especially when that thing gets... When this structure gets to be this frigging tall, right? I don't think they can work in parallel like that. I think they got to the point where it's one or the other. So I think SpaceX probably thinks that. Elon probably thinks that right now. But, I mean, if you get to the point where, you know, you've flown one, you landed one, that's all fine and dandy. You know it's going to work, right? Or at least you'll know to work to an extent, right? I think they're going to shoot for this orbital test. The orbital test and go. The other thing to take into account, Geek, is that they might be at a bottleneck with the heat shield. That's what this test is all about. That orbital test with Starship isn't like, hey, it's on orbit. Okay, Starship's finished. Everybody can go home now. No. That test is to test Starship's heat shield. It's to test Starship's heat shield because SpaceX's CFD can't simulate something like that. They won't know. I.e., they got to a point where you can only do so much computer testing before you have to go out and certify the heat shield and make sure that it's good to go. My guess is that the heat shield is probably one of the higher priorities for SpaceX to get right in Starship's design. I don't think I need to say why. In the similar way that landing gear for an airplane are probably one of the things you should figure out first, right? Yeah, it's probably something you should figure out. You need those, right? So, I don't think SpaceX even wants to choose one or the other. But you remember, if you make the push now and you get the pad done, that means down the road, so quarter 3, quarter 4 this year, so September, October, November, December, right? Well, that's quarter 4, but once you get into the fourth quarter this year, then you can test Super Heavy and Starship in parallel instead of one or the other. So I think they're making a push to get Super Heavy working, and if you're going to get Super Heavy working, you might as well do a heat shield test with the vehicle as well, right? Like, makes perfect sense. Yeah, Katra, I think they'll extend this crane eventually. No one said they wouldn't hop until the orbital test. That's what I've been hearing, Hellfish, believe it or not. I'm hearing that no more test flights until this thing goes orbital. That's what I've been hearing. Once again, that's what I've been hearing. Sources, dude, trust me. Take that for what you will. If you think they're going to do more test flights, you're probably right. But yeah, I picked up on the fact that something changed when they landed SN-15. There was no urgency to get SN-15 back to the pad. There was no urgency to take the engines off. There was no urgency to move 16 to the pad. There's no urgency to even finish SN-17. It's sitting in pieces at the build site. So something changed. I just don't know what it is. No one said they wouldn't hop after. Oh, yeah, yeah. In that regard, yeah, absolutely. Can Starship go orbital without Super Heavy? I think it might be able to, Geek, but I don't think SpaceX is even going to try. Yeah, exactly, Zythera. Something changed. They changed the scope of the project. So, like, look, I mean, SN... Are these 17s? There's all the tile mounts. I don't know if this is 17 or not. But yeah, 17's parts are sitting out in pieces at the build site. There's nowhere... We haven't seen any urgency from any of these videos to even bother fixing the dang thing. Or even bother finishing it. Do you think a politician secretly told SpaceX to make 2024 or else? No. No, not at all, Gully. These are the bolt points for the tiles, Mab. SpaceX bolts their tiles to Starship rather than glue them. Yeah. Educated guess, pushing for orbit so they can start testing orbital refueling. And yeah, probably, Jaka. I don't know. Yeah, see? See, look, SN17, it's just sitting here. Like, look, some tiles even... Some tiles are getting chipped. I don't see any urgency to finish this thing. And I haven't seen any urgency to finish this thing since SN15 landed. So SpaceX learned something, or something changed, or they figured out something about the heat shield that needed to be changed and tested. I don't know. I have no idea. It's hard to say. But, yeah, interesting. What the heck did they do here? It looks like they cut these tiles out and then cut the Nomex blanket behind them. Yeah, Staples, maybe. 16 is finished, Zythera, but it's just sitting in the high bay. 15, 16, 17 are basically not needed anymore since 20 is another block upgrade for Starship. Yep. There's the super heavy forward dome right there. Yeah, that's interesting, Brahms. I didn't know that. So this is the top of the first stage. This shelf that you see right here is mounting equipment for the separation device, which, from what I understand, or from what we've seen from renders from SpaceX Actual, looks like the same kind of pneumatic actuator tubes that you see from Falcon. Yeah, it's interesting. 2020 SpaceX Starlink started their service again. Interesting, Roms. Curious. Is the deadline 2024? Is there a little wiggle room? There's a little wiggle room, Clayton, from what I heard Bill say the other day, but not much. And Bill seems to be committed to 2024, which is another good sign. That's good for us. And then last bit of things. Actually, you know what? I was gonna show you guys this picture. I'll still show it to you, just because. But yeah, this is a picture that we'll probably end up seeing in a video soon. Mary Boca Chica gal over at NASA Spaceflight took this picture, and there's a segment right here with this thing. I don't know what that is. I think the 10 and 15 landings gave them enough data. Yeah. No. Spider-Man! Leg mounts? I don't know what part of Super Heavy and or Starship this is. It's got the internal stringers in it. You see that? That Commodore there, dang old 940. Yeah, shut up. That thing is in at least 2 times symmetry, possibly even 4 times so grid fins. Yeah. I mean, that's a hell of a flange right there, dude. This stainless steel plate is thick. Once again, you can tell how thick the thing is because look at all the weld. See all the weld that they ran in there? So I'm not going to sit here and tell you that this looks structural, but in my mind it looks structural. And we know Elon has said on Twitter previously, so take that for what you will. You know that he's indicated that they want to catch the damn thing by the grid fins. So if they want to catch the dang thing by the grid fins, they're going to need a pretty freaking strong attachment point for the grid fins.